Regular meeting of the City Council was held in Council Chambers on Thursday, July 19th, 2018 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on July 17th, 2018 at 12:41 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Currently, the only councilor that we have absent right now is Councilor Flynn, who he is coming from the airport, so he should be here shortly. Otherwise, all other councilors are present. Council President Gerard, that's me, presiding. Councilor Peterson moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. And now I request that everyone rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Sargent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Councilor Fury, so did you want a point of personal privilege?
Yes, please.
Point of personal privilege, Councilor Fury.
Please. Tonight's Jeff, could you stand for a minute, please? Please. Tonight's a nice night to recognize and respect the role and responsibility Jeffrey Barsnell has played for the City of Salem. I have the honor as the Dean of the City Council to present a city seal, unanimous by the City Council and the Mayor, to Jeff for your love and service to the City of Salem. If I may read it.
Yes.
At the regular meeting of the Salem City Council held in the City Council chamber on Thursday, July 19th, the City Council would like to extend to you our appreciation and many thanks for your years of service, contribution, and dedication as a member of our community, and for your 11 and a half years spent on the Sustainability, Energy, Resiliency Committee. The Salem City Council wishes Mr. Jeffrey Barsnell and his family all the best and much success as they embark on their new adventure. The Salem City Council would like also to present Mr. Jeffrey Barsnell with the city seal. And it represents, here's the city flag and the city seal itself. And it's quite an honor to get, not too many people get the city seal. It's like an Oscar on Esquire Award on the Academy Award for the City of Salem for distinguished service. And I just read a book, completed a book, if I may, Robert F. Kennedy, Ripples of Hope. And it's a beautiful book by Kerry Kennedy, the daughter of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Yesterday marked, Jeff, and for all of us, the 100th birthday of the courageous leader of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. President Obama was there to celebrate this special tribute to a remarkable man. Indeed, we have come a long way, yet we have a longer way to go. Senator Robert Kennedy went to Johannesburg, South Africa in 1966, June 1966. When Robert Kennedy flew over Robben Island off the coast of South Africa, nation of apartheid, where Nelson Mandela and other political prisoners were held, he asked the pilot of the plane to tip his wings for the prisoners below. After that action, the pilot was stripped of his flying license by the government of South Africa for the rest of his life. The student that invited Senator Robert Kennedy to speak that night was banned from the campus, never allowed to go to school. They just allowed Senator Robert Kennedy to speak. And this is what he said that night, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, 1962. And it so fits, Jeff, and hopefully all of us. Each time a man stands up for an idea, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Indeed, tonight is a night to reflect and renew on the role and responsibility of Reverend Jeffrey Barsnell, the pastor of the First Church here in Salem. Jeff has been the North Star and the moral compass for many causes that he's championed and advocated for. Salem is a much better place for his 20 years of service on the First Church. I've had the honor of attending Christmas Eve service for 20 years with you. Wonderful. Makes Christmas come alive. You have a quick and insightful learner who understands the issues and identifies with the people and our needs. With passion, heart, action, words we can all understand. You have been the example and the epitome and the essence of social justice, energy in the environment, Black Lives Matter, Sanctuary City, immigration. You are indeed a pastor of the First Church and a pastor of the city of Salem. Indeed, your ministry, you have stirred the conscience and soul and called for all of us to a higher purpose. Every individual who takes an action can make a difference. Words like, when I think of you, Jeff, and many of us think of you, conviction, passion, moral obligation, compassion, responsibility, community. You are indeed what Bobby Kennedy would say. You are a ripple of hope for all of us. For many of us, we will now ask, as we act and deliberate in the City Council, and you have been in the City Council many, many times up here, for inaugurations, speaking throughout the City of Salem in your ministry. For many of us, we will now ask, as we act and deliberate on issues and challenges ahead, what would Jeff do? What would Jeff do? Jeff, for your love and your service to our city and Salem, how dearly we miss you. It's Salem's loss. May we present this in honor of the City Council to you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
Madam President, where the rules allow Mr. Barcelona to address the council, so choose.
Absolutely. With motion to suspend the rules, seeing no objection, Reverend Father, you may address the council. Pastor.
It's rare that a person of my demeanor and training is speechless. Thank you very much. Well, this is an unexpected honor. I was called and asked to show up tonight because I was told I had to answer some questions regarding the Sustainability and Energy Resiliency Task Force. So I spent so I spent the last hour reviewing the agendas just to make sure I knew what was going on. The Salem government, local government like this is set up so that if people show up and are able to speak their truth with some respect and with some decency and treat one another with a modicum of civility, you can accomplish great things. That's at the heart of what makes this country truly great. Being able to agree to disagree respectfully, but also with an eye towards asking what's really true and what makes the most sense in our common world. People like you spend an awful lot of time around these, at these desks around this table, just trying to advance the common good. And it's all of our responsibility in some ways. Here in the 21st century, to paraphrase William Sloane Coffin, the world is too small for anything but love, and it's too dangerous for anything but truth. So I thank you for your service, and thank you for letting me stir the pot and try to make a difference. So thank you. This is unexpected.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, so next we have public testimony. We have a number of people, I believe we have 21 people that have been asked to speak, and normally public testimony is a 15-minute block for everyone to speak. So what I'm going to ask is either if you guys can, I know a number of you are here regarding Riley Plaza, the carnival, that seems to be the big thing, and Brook Street Flood Prevention Project. So if there's any opportunity to condense, to collaborate with people, because really I can only give everyone 1 minute to speak, and so I'll ask the city clerk if she can just set a 1 minute timer, and then at least everyone can just get the gist of what they want to say out. We get our public testimony done, and then we move on. And then just so that people know that then what we'll do is we'll then go out of order to take care of things, so that those of you who are here don't have to stay here all night with us. Even though we like you, we don't want to make you do that. Okay, so the first person that is on for public testimony is Kathleen and Jemmy. And just so you know, so it's name and address for the record, and you're addressing everything through me, and nobody can ask, you can't ask questions, but you can just talk to me.
Okay. Like you said, I'm Kathleen Injemy. I'm at 381 Highland Ave in Salem. And I'm here because of the carnival at Raleigh Plaza. And I'm very concerned with it because it's already a busy area, and they've already started construction across the street where the hotel and the apartments are going to be. So that's going to add to the heavy traffic that's already there. And also by Dunkin' Donuts. That's a tough area as well to negotiate if you're crossing the street. So the traffic is going to increase more to an area that's already congested. There's going to be a lot of kids at this carnival, and that's going to be dangerous for the kids if they get away from their parents or go in areas that they shouldn't be going to. And I think it's also going to hurt a lot of the businesses in that area as well, as people can't get to it. And as it is now.
Oh, it's already 1 minute?
In October.
Okay. I'm so sorry, it's already 1 minute.
Okay.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
And then the next speaker is Gary Gill.
So I come just with the Tootsie Rolls. My name's Gary, last name's Gill, Gill, 12 Pope Street, Salem, Massachusetts. The reason I'm coming is in regards to the carnival. The idea probably was a good idea when you were all talking about it, but I think it's a nightmare in the making in the middle of October. If it's every Saturday and Sunday, the whole month of October, you know, it's going to be very tight downtown, and it is already, as Mrs. Injamine just said, and Peter has informed me the same thing, that it's a bad idea. But other than that, just think of it this way. If there was an emergency downtown during that time, Saturday and Sunday, in the middle of town, with all the other extra trucks, fencing, and everything that goes along with the carnival setup and tear down, you're going to be asking, it's going to be a nightmare. And it could be a very dangerous nightmare if something happens to happen amongst the crowd that is already here, all the footwork, all the traffic that was backed up again today. So whoever really thought of this idea,
And so now it's...
rethink it.
Okay.
Thank you. But
Thank
I
you.
also just suggested maybe Winter Island, the Willows, with the backdrop of the ocean behind it. In the hangar, they can put all the cars and everything else in there. And I know you had a carnival
Okay, I'm
2
sorry,
weekends ago,
Gary. We
but
gotta move on. Thank you.
Take that into consideration.
Thank you. The next is James Zavajla? I'm so sorry. I butcher everybody's names.
James Zavea, 25 High Street.
Zavea?
Zavelia.
Zavea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just to give you some history of this, there was carnival down there in the late 60s, early 70s down in Raleigh Plaza back when it was a rotary. It was actually stopped. Now, the design's pretty much wrong. Just to tell you that it was complaints in the neighborhood, etc. Some of the things that will be echoed here tonight. My suggestions also is maybe the Elmies Church Street lot, perhaps even, they were on the common before they went down to the rides, before they went down to the Derby Street area. And then also another suggestion would be maybe down where National Park Services, you can get permission because we have the 4th of July. You have a lot more open space down there. That also keeps it in the various areas where you want to keep it kind of in core downtown. So, I mean, that's just some things I want to suggest. I realize everything's 1 minute, but I also think we should also have another meeting, committee of the whole, so that everyone could actually talk about this some more. Which actually would be good practice as far as what's happened before and with something issue like this in the past.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next, we have Joseph Carenti.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the council. Joseph Carenti, 63 Federal Street, representing the developer of the Salem District Court, Diamond Center Quarry, Washington Street LLC Group. And we're here tonight to talk about the agenda item you have, which is requesting easements be granted, and specifically that the council authorize the mayor to enter into air right easements and ground easements so as the developer can build the plan and building that has been approved by the Planning Board, the SRA, and the Design Review Board. The air rights easements specifically are about balconies that were added on to the building, which may overhang the sidewalk up on the 4th and 5th levels. The ground easements are for the landscaping that's going to be done out in front of the building and on the side of the Federal Street side of the building, which are on public property. So, you know, in order to do that, in order for the developer to have proper authority to do that, we need you to grant the mayor the authority to give these easements to the SRA. And
Thank you.
Jeff Hirsch is here also. I think he signed up for a minute, but that's later if you want to take him out of order or if there are any questions.
We should just go in order.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have George Courage.
Good evening. My name is George Courage. I'm a resident of 24 Norman Street, and I'm also here representing the 24 Norman Street Condo Association. We are strongly opposed to the mayor's proposal to waive the ordinance which will allow the carnival to be set up in Riley Plaza. We strongly oppose the proposal because Riley Plaza is our only legal long-term parking for our building. We pay the city roughly $14,000 a year to park there, and although our association pays for parking in Riley Plaza, the spaces are not guaranteed and they're not even designated for our building. Since it's a public lot, all public parking there is on a first come, first served basis. All we have is hang tags that allow us to park there if we can find a parking space. Another thing that wasn't mentioned in the proposal was they're also leasing space to the Merchant Hotel and to the Salem Inn. So that cuts down the number of available spaces already. If you add the carnival in, we really have no place to park. Anyway, the other question is where would the employees and the patrons of the carnival be expected to park?
Thank you. Next, we have Jesse Zubarak. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jesse Zubarak. I also represent the 24 Norman Street Condominium Association. I own Unit 203 in that building. The parking situation, as George said, has been pressured over the last few years, increasingly so, with the bus parking that was unused on the street in front of us, and just having more and more passes being granted for that lot. It's been impossible for the residents to find parking. My suggestion is that either to move the carnival to the common or someplace like that that has open space, would not be taking up precious parking spots in downtown Salem, or alternatively, if we don't have another place to put the carnival, to make the resident passes for our building available for the garages and for the YMCA lot and other places where the residents can actually use. We'd have to have some place to park. We've been pressured for far too long, and just please take us into consideration when you make a decision.
Thank you. Next, we have Stan Franzine.
Thank you. Yes, Stan Franzine, 34 Daniel Street. I'm here with Salem Alliance for the Environment, and I'm here with two of our other board members, Patricia Gozemba and Dave Rowan, and we're here to talk about gas infrastructure proposal that I think Councilor Dibble is going to make. So I'm going to turn it over to Patricia. that's okay. Can we
Did she
take
sign
her out
up
of order?
to speak? Yes, she did. So we'll call on her in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Dustin Quadros.
My name's Dustin Quadros. I live over at 24 Norman Street. I also have the same concerns about parking, especially in October. Even though it's resident parking only from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., if you don't get there in time, you will not get a spot. And even though you have permit parking and you're allowed to park there, tourists and such will park there knowing that nobody will ticket them. I've called the police department several times during October, and they've come down and they haven't done much. The only thing I could say is that reducing that many spaces is going to cause a nightmare for us. We have nowhere else to park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street. First, I'd like to say how grateful I am to have followed Jeff Barsnell around at Martin Luther King events, and of course, showing people that environmental justice is social justice, and more than anything else for our friendship. Thank you. I'm here to speak about the short-term rental ordinance in front of you, and because I have less time, I'm going to mention three quick things. We need a mechanism to monitor and enforce the ordinance. Fines are not enough and will not happen unless we have the staffing to monitor and enforce. 2, adjacent units should be allowed as specified in the ordinance, but limited to 1 unit per homeowner. And 3rd, non-owner occupied. It's excellent that it is not allowing future, but there should not be grandfathered in any from the past. Boston's ordinance gives people through 2019 to convert back to rental properties. Thank you very much. This is about restoring our rental stock. Thank you.
And also let the record reflect that Councillor Flynn has joined us. Welcome back, Councillor Flynn. And next we have Judith Riley. Is Judith still? She gone. Okay. Next we have Len Jose.
Good evening. My name is Leonard Joseph, 99 Rosewood in Danvers. I'm here regarding an easement for East Collins Street, representing the owner of 15 Barton Street, who only has access to his rear yard for parking. And there's a triangular piece of property on East Collins that belongs to the city of Salem, and the owner is looking for proper authority to use that so he can access the rear yard for parking, which will alleviate some of the parking issues for some of the neighbors as well, taking a few cars off the street for parking. And the zoning enforcement officer and city engineer have signed off on it. There's already a curb cut in place, and we're just looking for authorization to properly use the property and approval for the easement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Kim Waller.
Hi, good evening. Kimberly Waller, 26 Hardy Street. I'm also with The Merchant. Thanks for the chance to speak, Council President and Council members. Just to be very brief, 2 points. One is to consider the loss of revenues to local businesses as you consider the economics of the $30,000. So with the Chamber of Commerce, we came up with 44 spaces at $100 per car. 2 turns per day would be $8,800 per day, or $264,000 for the month, for the loss of people parking and actually using what they're there for in terms of the local businesses. And the second point is just about alternative locations. Why make more of a dense population, a dense area right in the middle of Salem when we have so much here? And so really the Willows and Winter Island, there's so many amazing spots, and we really need to utilize that. And that also could expand sort of where cars are going and parking. So those are the 2 major things, and just to underscore what everyone else has said about the congestion and safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ms. Jillian Kapnis.
Hi, my name is Jillian Kapnis. I am a resident of Brook Street. We're here requesting your approval for the council order in regards to the flood prevention project. Until the neighborhood meets with the city engineer. As of now, the bid for that project calls for the cutting down of 10 trees along the brook. That's all the trees. We want to add an addendum to that bid, trying to save the trees and make sure the trees and plantings are restored to their pre-construction condition when the project's completed. We've been told if the trees can be saved, then save them. They can be saved. There just needs to be a better level of transparency between the city and our neighborhood. There's a lot of he said, she said. We want to know what's going on. We just want our neighborhoods and landscape integrity kept intact the best possible. So thanks, and I hope to see you all at the meeting on Monday on Brook Street, 6 p.m. But other than that, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have John Kapnis.
I'll waive that. I agree with Jillian 100%.
Thank you. Next, we have Mary Pelletier. So I'm sorry, just so that we can get you on the microphone. I'm so sorry.
Pelletier, Castle Hill neighborhood, Brook Street in Salem. For generations.
And your name and address for the record.
And I don't hear you because I have my hearing aid.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Mary Pelletier, Brook Street.
Thank you.
Salem. For generations, my husband and I, my family, my neighbors, my friends, have created a beautiful park out of Brook Street in Salem. Brook, one Brook, Brook Street. And now we have been notified that they're going to do the big Rosie's Pond flood project, which is going to be dire changes as far as we're concerned. They expect to change the whole landscaping, take down the trees, old birch trees that one of my daughters planted, and many other trees. My gardens, okay, they can be regrown, I know. The cobblestones all along, the whole entire street came from another daughter. But we,
Ms. Pelletier,
we're having a meeting Monday.
Great.
Very important.
Great.
I would love to have your support.
Thank you very much. Next, we have David Raymond.
My name is David Raymond, 5 Brook Street. I've been here since '82. I live next door, which was at the house, which was then Ocean Avenue. The house has been turned around since, and I was there since '76. We never really had a water problem. '96 we did, and we had a few more after that. And 2006 was the last one we had. In 2008, they installed the berm. We haven't had a problem since. In 2015, I have the plans. We had a meeting at St. Anne's stating that the trees will be saved, the garden won't be touched. They told us all this in the meeting. Then all of a sudden now, everything's changing and changing. We work hard down there. It's a long, nice street, garden, flowers. People come down and say it's beautiful. Now all of a sudden it's going to be ruined. And I feel my house value is going to come down after this is being done. And my mother-in-law, 92 years old, is out there every day, planting, weeding. That's your life.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Pat Gazemba.
Good evening. I'm Pat Gazemba. I live at 17 Sutton Ave, Salem Willows. I'm here as the co-chair of Salem Alliance for the Environment, and I want to join with the City Council in thanking our co-chair, Jeff Barsnell, who is going to be sorely missed when he leaves Salem and he leaves SAFE, a big hole in our environmental effort here. One of the latest environmental efforts that SAFE is working on are the health and safety aspects of gas leaks. Many of you know about the work we've been doing on gas leaks. We just appeared before the Salem Board of Health on last Tuesday, and we asked them to send a letter to the governor supporting these 5 points. We asked them that the Board of Health makes these specific recommendations for state action from the governor. 1, do not authorize new gas infrastructure projects in Massachusetts until and unless adequate data have been gathered to allow making a valid health impact assessment specific to each project. That's the most important point that we brought to the Board of Health. The Board of Health agreed unanimously to send that letter to the governor, and we are delighted that Councilor Dibble has now an order that will come before you tonight to go to the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and the Environment of this council so that we can delve more deeply into both the health and safety aspects of the natural gas that is leaking throughout this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have David Rowan.
Council President.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Jeff Hirsch.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hirsch, 6 Monterey Lane, Framingham. And this is in reference to the district courthouse, 65 Washington Street, just to shake things up a little. And all I really wanted to say was that the timing of the vote is kind of important to us as the developers of the project. And we would appreciate it if the City Council could vote on the easement and the air rights tonight, if possible, as we're in the process of trying to close on the property in the next couple of weeks. And this is one of the outstanding issues we need to resolve quickly. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is, I can't read this handwriting. Chrislyn below? What is it?
Kristen Bello.
Oh, Kristen Bello. Okay, thank you.
Sorry for my penmanship. Kristen Bello, 24 Norman Street, and I do want to say I concur with my fellow homeowners in the condo association that taking away our parking, and even just cutting it in half, it will hurt us completely. We will not be able to find parking throughout October. And as others have said, the safety issue, the congestion issue, it's just not a good thing. And I think I've said everything I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, Fawaz Abu Shark.
Fawaz Abu Shark for Harrison Road. I'm here about the Housing Authority. Please keep Kim Driscoll off that. Salem is becoming one of the most expensive cities in the North Shore. We don't have that much affordability to start with. She's been there for 12 years. She appoints the people on the board. She could have done something if she wanted to. Her personally is not gonna change anything. If we're gonna keep any affordability or any affordable housing in Salem, Mayor Trump has to stay off the Housing Authority. Thank you.
Thank you. And let the record reflect that Councilor Milo had recused herself regarding her personal connection to the Salem Housing Authority, and now she is returned. So because we, as I said in the beginning, we have a number of you here, so we're going to bounce around the agenda, and we'll start with Councilor Dibble. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have a lot of people here, so let's take care of their issues and get them home rather than have them wait here for 2 hours with the rest of us here. So with that, I'd like to motion to suspend the rules and to go to page 19 and take out of order those 2 matters that are under motions, orders, and resolutions. And then right after that, go to the last matter on page 8 under communications from the mayor.
Okay,
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Dibble.
Ooh. Really?
It happens that quick.
City of Salem and City Council, July 19th, 2018, ordered that the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and the Environment meet to discuss the human health risks to Salem residents of natural gas infrastructure, including carcinogens like benzene and formaldehyde, heavy metals like lead and mercury, radioactive elements like radon and radioactive lead, and tiny particles that make asthma and lung disease worse. To discuss proposed gas pipelines near our drinking water source, including the Wenham Lake, and to further discuss the damage caused by gas fires and explosions, contribution to air pollution and lung disease from burning natural gas and from gas releases and gas leaks. Be it further ordered that the Director of Public Services, SAFE, the North Shore Medical Center, Salem Board of Health, and the Salem Health Agent be invited. Thank you, Madam President.
And do you move for adoption?
I move for adoption.
Councilor Dibble moves for adoption. Under discussion?
This is really straightforward and an important matter to determine whether this is really an issue of concern for the health of the Salem residents. Pat Gazumba, who you heard earlier from SAFE, and I and a few other people took a road trip, and you've all heard me talk about the 300 gas leaks in Salem and how we need to take action to get these repaired. This is a related matter, but it's different as well. Pat Gazumba and I and a few other people went up to Lowell, and we heard from 4 families from western Pennsylvania, the closest area that allows for fracking. Fracked gas. You drill down sideways, add a whole lot of chemicals, and that chemical slurry causes a lot of chemicals to go into the pipeline. From their end, it comes out at our end. And do these chemicals pose a hazard to our Salem residents? We're told by the good people from Pennsylvania who were begging the North Shore for help. Their families are dying, family members are dying. They brought some of their children, they're losing their hair, their red blotches on their skin, all sorts of problems from this frack gas. Frack gas is a really bad practice. In Pennsylvania, they're hurting and they're dying and they're begging for our help. It's not a good practice, and they're warning us of the chemicals that they're receiving in their neighborhood and how those chemicals are going with the natural gas to our kitchens, our house, and they're being leaked out in the streets into the air. We need to take action, and this will be the first thing that we've done as a city to see if we can help both the people in Pennsylvania and to help our own Salem residents. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, July 19, 2018. Ordered that the bidding process for the Rosie's Pond flood control work on Brook Street be stopped until a neighborhood meeting is held so that an addendum can be added to the bid. The addendum shall address neighborhood concerns regarding saving the trees on Brook Street from being cut down, address saving cobblestones, plantings, flower beds, boulders, and landscaping along Brook Street, and address plans for restoring cobblestones, plantings, flower beds, boulders, and landscaping on Brook Street to their pre-construction condition when the project is finished. Move approval.
Councilor Sargent moves for adoption.
Moves for adoption.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. As you've heard, there's some anxiety along the street. We have families that have lived there for 3 generations, that built the street, that have been through all kinds of situations with flooding, and it's actually much better now than it ever was. But in order to make it better, they understand the engineering underground this is going to happen, but they weren't quite aware of what was going to happen above the ground, so all the trees and plantings and everything. And I just imagine any one of us thinking of coming home one day and finding every tree on the street cut down. It's rather disconcerting. So we're going to have a meeting and we're going to try and iron all this out. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. So Councilor Fury, then Councilor Peterson.
As a dean of the city council, and I've gone in the elections, I always go down Brook Street. Door to door. It's one of the most premier neighborhoods. Salem is a city of neighborhoods, and that is one of the most premier neighborhoods in the city of Salem. Tiger Woods would go golfing on some of those greens. The homes, the backyards, the gardens, the actual brook itself is absolutely beautiful. Just before St. Anne's Church, just before Wilson Street, off Jefferson Avenue, you may go by it all the time, near Lawrence Street. It's one of the most beautiful premier neighborhoods. So if we can keep this neighborhood premier, That would be beautiful for the residents and the neighbors of Brook Street. Thank you, Council Sargent.
Thank you.
very much.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank especially Councilor Sargent and Councilor Dibble for helping the neighbors with this issue. We've been working hard to try to get to the bottom of it, and I'm fully in support of this. One thing, and Councilor Sargent and I discussed this ahead of time, I want to ask for a friendly amendment to it because I talked to the purchasing agent, and the one word in here, stopped, is problematic because that would make the whole process start over from the beginning. So instead, he suggests that we add, extend the bid opening instead of stopped. But I think it still accomplishes exactly what we're trying to do. So other than that, I'm very much in favor of it.
The bidding process for the Rosie's Pond flood work on Brook Street be extended?
Extend the bid opening.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Extend the bid opening instead of the term stop, because if the order is to stop, then it completely stops the project and then they have to start all over again. And so in order to, am I explaining, do you want to just explain
thank
further?
you.
Yeah.
Madam President, so the neighborhood meeting with the city engineer that's been requested is happening on Monday. There are, what else was? Yeah, so with that, and he's agreed to do the addendum. So everything that's being asked for is happening. And so we want to make sure that the bid opening is extended to allow for that to happen, is the full friendly amendment.
Okay. Councilor Sargent, do you have an issue with the amendment? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Unless,
I think it will.
Councilor Sargent.
Just to explain it, I guess we'll extend the opening of the bid for a certain period of time so that nothing changes as far as contracts and all those things happen. So it's a compromise to try and get this done. Because the word stopped might mean legally that we have to start everything from the beginning. So if we extend the time for the opening of the bid, it will give us time for the neighborhood meeting and time to get the addendum done. Is that what?
Yep.
So if it'll make this happen and get the votes to have the meeting, then we can get through it.
Okay, so
to a date certain, a
date to be determined, I think.
All right, we could do that.
To a date, okay, so extend the bid process to a date to be determined, TBD. Is that, are we allowed? Yeah, is that, Madam City Clerk, are we allowed to do that with, don't we need a date certain?
Well, I don't know purchasing rules. I don't really know what purchasing their rules are in terms of being specific with the date. That would
Okay.
be, purchasing agent. But you're talking about a date to extend the bid?
Yeah, do we know what the bid was before? Yes, Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I just had a question too, that whether we could substitute pause, and the purchasing agent said that's the same thing as stopped.
Okay.
So we can't do that. So the original date was August 2nd, and so I'm a little uncomfortable putting a specific date on there without the neighborhood meeting happening. I would like to leave it open to the city engineer and the purchasing agent in the neighborhood once the neighborhood meeting happens.
Okay, so just because, our next meeting isn't going to be until the second Thursday in September, and we don't want to say something in August and then we're not going to be able to come back together before that. So, perhaps.
I know they extended it so far to August 9th.
To August 9th, okay.
I mean, we can put that, but I don't know if the decision will be different after the neighborhood meeting happens. I'm not sure.
And that's what I'm worried about, that if there's a decision that comes out of the neighborhood meeting, we're not going to meet again until September, I think like around the 14th or something, or the 10th. So, okay, let's think about this for a second. Councilor Terrell, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Just a thought on this is that the bid process, in doing this, I don't think, I've been trying to kind of work this through. I don't think we have to set a date certain, and in fact, this does not come back before us because we're not referring it to committee, we're just asking them to pause the process.
Okay.
So if the language of this were made to say, extended to a date to be determined by the, to be determined by the city engineer and
the neighborhood.
The city engineer and the purchasing agent after the neighborhood meeting, and the changes are incorporated. If the language was to that effect, I think that would pass muster. Because this, again, like I said, this doesn't come back before us automatically for any reason. So if we deal with it that way now, that allows them to extend the bid to a date that they have figured, because we don't have a factor normally in that date. So I think that would fix it.
Okay, so a date to be determined by the city engineer. Councilor Sargent.
Just maybe put in the neighborhood representative, the ward councilor, city engineer, and purchasing agent.
Okay, so city engineer, purchasing agent. Okay, so on Councilor Sargent's motion, I'm sorry, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the Ward 5 councilor. We don't need to put a date in there, but what we do need to do is make sure that the neighborhood is heard. I think the Ward 3 councilor has done a good job. I attended a meeting and she welcomed me to a meeting with the engineer earlier this week, and we really reviewed the plans in heavy detail. But it was the councilor at large who got this started, and I met with, at his request, I met with the neighbors as well. And I saw my friend Mrs. Pelletier, who I last met with 30-something years ago, talking about trees. So it's good to see you again. She came right over and just gave me a nice handshake and welcomed me. But the issue here is to make sure the neighbors' concerns are addressed. And there's a meeting now set up for Monday night, as we've heard, 6 o'clock on Brook Street. And I think the lion's share of the neighbors' concerns have already been addressed between the two meetings that the two councilors have set up. So the gardens will be protected and replaced, the cobblestones, the stones, on and on. It's one of the most beautiful streets in the whole city that they built. We didn't have anything to do with it. They did it as volunteers. And we should work with them and protect it. The last issue on the trees, we need to find a compromise that works. And I think that we'll find a compromise on Monday night, and I'll be there with you guys to give you a hand. As at least one of these councilors will be there. I figure it's two. But anyway, thank you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, sir. I know it's in good nature, but okay. So any further discussion?
No, all set.
Okay. So on Councilor Sargent's motion to adopt as amended, so that the bidding process for Rosie's Pond flood control work on Bridge Street be extend the bid process to a date to be determined by the city engineer, purchasing agent, ward councilor, and neighborhood. Then all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. See you guys Monday night. Okay, thank you. Okay, as Councilor Dibble had asked, we are going to page 8 now, or 9? 8. Okay, to the bottom of page 8, communications from the mayor.
Given order that the city council hereby waives City Ordinance Section 24-18, circuses and carnivals prohibited within Riley Plaza for a period of October 9, 2018 through November 2, 2018, to enable fiesta shows to hold a carnival at Riley Plaza.
This is Councilor McCarthy and Medor, but Councilor Terrell, isn't this your ward?
It is.
Okay, so do you want to start us off on this?
Sure, I guess.
Councilor Terrell.
Lucky you. Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be referred to some committee or another, but I don't know which one to put it into. I'm asking for guys, should this go into public health, safety because of that? Should this go into ordinances because they don't have enough to do? Or
administration and finance because there is a financial component to it?
Oh, there's nothing to this part. It's an ordinance waiver, so that's the problem.
That's in the waiver.
I mean, either which way, the intent here is to hopefully find another location because I think this location is not great. So, whatever committee it's in, so long as the chair is willing to hear it before September, when we have to make a decision on it.
Okay.
Say, Councilor Milo, do you want it?
Or here, Councilor McCarthy.
Or do you, Councilor McCarthy, do you want it?
Thank you, Madam President. With great
anticipation, I will gladly take on this task.
Oh.
Okay, so I will move to this.
And I will, only because for the last 10 years, this carnival's been in Ward 1. It's been right on the old Dave and Jack's, been right in Ward 1.
Yep.
Bright lights, everyone to see that lives in any building anywhere within eyeshot of that. So we're gonna have a frank discussion. Let's have a frank discussion about where it's been and where we think it should go. And I agree with a lot of the concerns, but I can show you documentation for years and years past that has support from 3 different police chiefs, all saying that even though it's not anyone's favorite thing in the world is the carnival, it's one of those things because so many people come to the city of Salem and they bring their kids. And we get to the point when you think about all the attractions that Salem has and everything that goes on, the different museums, the horror shows and all of that, card readings, everything. You think about the minimal amount of things that if someone shows up with a family with a bunch of little kids, what they can do. Everyone says even though it's one of those things that no one per se really likes, it's one of those things we kind of need because we need that alternative venue for the families to go to, that bring the little kids, and because sometimes when they're being dragged to the second or third museum or Fright Night or whatever it is, they want something to do. So three prior police chiefs, including this one, the 2 prior and this one, all recommend that we try to figure this out. So this is something that we're all going to have to take a grip on and understand. And it's not one of those things where, and I love the suggestions about putting in the Willows or putting down Winter Island. We're going to put people in trolleys and take them out of downtown and bring them down to the Willows or Winter Island during October. That's where everyone is. So it's going to have to be a situation we find a spot in downtown. Because the idea is it's about people park their cars, they're in the garage, they're in a lot, walkability. I don't see anyone walking all the way down Derby Street past the power plant in order to go to a carnival and then walking back. So all that being said, it's one of those discussions everyone has to go into with an open mind and have a real honest and frank discussion about it, because when you think about what happens in the month of October, whether we like it or not, it's been part of it for the last 8 to 10 years, and a lot of families show up with kids and they need some sort of alternative venue. If someone can come up with something else, bring on the ideas. But for right now, what's in front of us is this location, or if someone has another suggestion, I'll be more than willing to hear it. But I will definitely, we're planning on having a bunch of meetings in the month of August, my committee, because we have a ton of stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So on that note,
Councilor
Madam
Terrio.
President, I move that it be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Devices, Legal Affairs, co-post of the Committee of the Whole. Very much, for the most part, what he said. It's been there for a long time. We know at this point we can't do it this year. We may be able to do some events there in the future after the park construction is complete. But we do have a problem to solve, at least for this year. I have some serious safety concerns in using Riley Plaza. The loss of parking is, wherever we do it, there's going to be a loss of parking, most likely. But that's the widest, busiest intersection in the city. And having families and teenagers trooping across that day and night, it's already congested and jammed up with a huge flow of traffic. I just don't see how that's a great idea. So, maybe we've got some magic dust to make it safe, but I have trouble seeing that. So we have to figure out something to try and keep as much of the carnival going as possible. Maybe it has to be smaller, maybe it has to be in a different location, but that putting all the stuff we were doing on the lot in there is, to me, not such a great idea.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble, and then Councilor Madore.
Very briefly, I can recognize and understand the importance of the parking and the loss of parking from the neighbors that spoke earlier and from the business owners and how it will negatively impact their businesses. But I did a little research on this, and I went into the living room of former Councilor Joe Ingemi's house, who's a friend of mine. And he's the one 55 years ago, that wrote the ordinance that prohibited carnivals there. So I'm asking the former good Councilor Ingemi, why did this board, a previous city council, make it illegal for carnivals to go there? I wanted to hear. And he said it was a safety issue. You had children crossing the street, all different angles in between cars, and it was they had several carnivals there, and it was dangerous, and they made it illegal to have carnivals and circuses in the Riley Plaza in the future. So I don't think we want to change from that, and I think that we're on the right track here by finding an alternate site for this. So I just want to share the good former Ward Councilor Joe Ingemi's concerns about our children in Salem, as stated 56 years ago.
Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I first want to thank everyone for coming out to speak on this matter. And I feel strongly that this is one of the most problematic intersections in our city as it is without a carnival. It takes almost 4 minutes to cross Washington Street from Margin to New Derby. So if we put another carnival in there, it's not only going to affect the pedestrians, it's also going to impact the traffic circulation. And so far, I feel like this body has not been fully informed about any mitigation plans for that potential issue, as well as the thought process of why this site was chosen. So I'm really glad that we'll have a deeper discussion about perhaps alternative sites, given that this has been here for many years and I've attended them myself, and I look forward to taking my son there as well. So it's something that we need to keep, but I just want a deeper discussion than just let's put it here and take over these parking spots. So glad to see it have more discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so on Councilor Terrell's motion that this be moved to OLA, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. And then we were going to go to page 9, Councilor McCarthy. Wait, are we, hang on, oh.
Page 9 at the top.
Okay, so we're just going to continue on and finish up page 9, I believe. Okay, so further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the City of Salem a 5-year extension of a lease between the City of Salem and American Tower Asset Sub 2 LLC to enable the city to attach equipment to American Tower's pole for the city's two-way radio system.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Under discussion. It's an extension of a lease we've had in place. Our two-way radio system relies on, part of this network relies on this. There's no money involved. It's just an extension of a lease, and it's just to put the legal aspect on it so that we can continue to have space on that antenna in order to provide radio service for city employees.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Councilor McCarthy's motion that this be adopted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. One last thing, if we could, one last indulgence to take out of order page 23.
Councilor McCarthy moves so we go to page 23. Okay. Communications from city officials.
The following order was introduced by the city solicitor. Ordered that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the city of Salem an easement grant to Pizzardo Painting and Carpentry LLC, acting through its managers Tulio Pizzardo and Eduardo Pizzardo, and set forth in the attached easement grant as shown on the attached plan entitled Salem, Massachusetts easement sketch over land of the city of Salem, East Collins Street, Salem, Mass, prepared by Greenland Surveyors Linnass, dated April 4th, 2018.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a matter that, I mean, obviously this development has been one that's been in the works and under discussion for quite some time now. And part of the approval of, through the SRA and the designs, was on some of the upper levels. There's some.
Yeah, wrong.
This was the wrong one?
Yeah, this is the East Collins.
Wait, this.
That's the painting one.
This
it's
one.
A painting one?
Oh, this is.
I didn't want that one.
Oh, might as well do it.
Okay, so
we'll do that
why
one.
don't
All
we
right.
finish this one and then
That's
where's the other one?
I move for adoption, but I yield the floor to Councilor Madore since it's in her ward.
Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President.
They're reading it. I was like, this one.
So I did, oh, the solicitor's not here. I did have some quick questions for the solicitor, and my concerns were about the existing right-of-way for pedestrians, whether there had been a curb cut, the existing right-of-way. So she addressed my concerns, and I think I support granting this easement.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Councilor McCarthy's. Oh, Councilor Sargent.
I'm just trying to figure out where it is and ask if all abutters have been notified of this in case there are any issues with the neighborhood. There's East Collins, right? There's Barton Street. So two houses is in between the railroad.
Okay.
Bottom of 25 is the other one.
Bottom of 25, thank you.
Do you, Counselor Dibble or Counselor Sargent, are you all set, or can I call on Counselor Dibble, or?
I'm just curious also, is it's for a business use, right? And that's all, it's for a painting, right?
No, they just own the property.
Carpentry, if it's for painting carpentry LLC, is it for business use or is it for residential use?
Yield council handles that.
So I could,
Okay, so
I'll yield to Council Dibble.
you'll yield to, okay, so Counselor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I can shed a little light on this real fast. I met with the city engineer on this, with the city solicitor on this. Had a bunch of legal questions, whereas this is worded going to a painting company and to two individuals, but the easement actually runs with the property itself, and it's not to a painting company or to a business, it's to a house, to have a driveway going into their backyard so they can have access to parking in the back side. And after having all my questions answered and about giving an easement about some city-owned property, this one's really straightforward. This is just so they can have a driveway into their backyard through a little piece of city-owned land that is just grass. It looks like a wide tree lawn, if you would. So I have absolutely no problem with this at all.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
That's all, I just,
Counselor Sargent.
I just asked that it's for residential use, that it's not for contracting vehicles, painting vehicles, et cetera, because sometimes these things can start out and before you know it, it's not a residential use. So I just want good faith acknowledgement that it's for residential use, that's all. Be good.
Is that an amendment?
Yes, it's based on the zoning anyways. It's zoned residential. So
Their attorneys over there.
Okay. Do we want to suspend the rules to allow the lawyer for the property to address that question?
Sure, so moved.
Okay, so seeing no objection, sir, if you'd like to approach the podium. And then just your name and address for the record again.
My name is Leonard Joseph.
Thank you.
To directly address Councilman Sargent's question, it would be for residential use only. I don't know if there's any other specific questions, but it's basically grass, triangular shape that used to be used for a railroad maybe about over 100 years ago. And the curb cut's already in place, so there's no physical work that has to be done to the property or city property at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none on, this was Councilor McCarthy's motion? Okay, so on Councilor McCarthy's motion that this be adopted, do we need a roll call vote? We need 2/3, but we don't, do we need a roll call or no?
Hand vote.
No?
Hand vote is fine.
Hand vote is fine? Okay, great. So, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, everybody. Okay, all those opposed? Matter carries. And then let's go, Councilor McCarthy, go out of order to page 20, the bottom of page 25, is that correct? Okay, so we're going to the bottom of page 25, further communications from city officials.
Following order was recommended by Tom Daniel, Executive Director of the Salem Redevelopment Authority. Ordered that the mayor is hereby authorized on behalf of the city of Salem to execute a perpetual easement to the Salem Redevelopment Authority to allow certain encroachments identified on 2 plans, ground easement plan and the air rights easement plan, both dated July 16, 2018, and prepared by Allen and Major Associates, which your plans are attached. Final plans and easements shall be in a form approved by the city solicitor.
Councilor McCarthy, as you were.
I skipped, I read to the bottom, I was like, what about, anyway. I
Yeah.
apologize, Madam President. Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption under discussion.
Under discussion, the attorney for the development is here. He spoke earlier during the public comment period. I mean, this is a project that's been in the works for quite some time, as I stated earlier, and part of the design process for this building on some of the upper levels, some of the balconies slightly overhang into what would be over public space, over the sidewalk. They're not encroaching on the sidewalk. They're 10, 20, 30 feet up in the air, but because of it extends beyond the building envelope, and the building envelope is right on the street on both sides. Therefore, anything up above, technically, you would need an easement in order for, I would need an easement on my own home if I wanted to put a bay window in, and I was encroaching within the setback on my neighbor's house. So this is just a way that in order to cross all the Ts and dot all the Is and all the documentation and with all the work that's been done in this development, this is one of those things that we have to allow the mayor to enter into an easement so that they have the right to have those little extensions out over the sidewalks at the upper levels. So, I mean, this is a project that's been vetted out through a whole bunch of different processes, and it's been through the SRA, and I would recommend that we move on this in order to allow this process to continue, because I think that, as was stated earlier, some of the financing on this is tied up in some of these decisions.
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
Madam President, I strongly concur with Councilman McCarthy. As the City Council representative to the Salem Renewal Authority, I've gone to numerous meetings to see this going into action. It's gone before the Design Review Board itself, to tedious professionalism. Now we're at the final stage to see the actual reality take place. And maybe 3 to 5 years from now, that old district court, which is an eyesore to the city of Salem on the Gateway, Bridge Street, 1A, downtown Salem, will be a jewel to the whole downtown Salem. And if you remember Robert Young, many of us may remember the actor Robert Young, Marcus Walby, and did a show, Window on Main Street. And that project will be a window on Main Street. Asset, 1A, MBTA garage. I think it will be a catalyst even to the development across the way, across the river on Franklin Street. It's going to be a real catalyst. A lot of work has gone into it. It's an eyesore now to what we see in the old district court. Some people wanted the district court in different ways, the Walgreens, the Xavier. What's going to be there, it's going to be amazing. And that developer, Diamond, has a track record that has integrity and honesty that I think all of us can be proud of in Salem. See that in a year or two. So if we can expedite this to the next step, to the reality stage, we'll be doing Salem justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I fully support granting this easement only because there's a timeline issue, because the property still belongs to the state and it needs to close between the state, the developer, and the city. So if we were to hold this up, the timeline would be further delayed, and we cannot afford any more delays on this project. We've already gone through several reviews with several boards, and it's been a very thoughtful process, and it's time to move this project forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Roll call?
Nope. Everybody.
And then my hand was up. It was just when you're counting hands.
Do you want a roll call vote?
No, I mean, it says 2/3 vote required, so that was.
It does. I counted 10 hands. I mean, 11 hands, including myself.
Okay.
Do you want a roll call?
No.
No? Okay, great. The matter carries.
It's fine with me.
Okay, so where should we go now?
Page 3.
Page 2, page 3? I'm sorry?
Page 2.
Appointment. Oh, actually, why don't we do the appointments? Because I know my constituent has been here patiently.
Page 6.
And I know some other constituents are sitting here patiently as well. Okay, so let's go to page 6. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment Mark Patterson of 2 Beaver Street to fill the vacant seat on the Salem Historical Commission for a term to expire June 28, 2021.
Councilor Harris.
Councilor Girard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be confirmed by roll call vote.
On discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually have to say that I don't think we could pick someone better for the Historic Commission. I don't like to think about this, but I want to say it was it in 2015 when the awful line gate thing happened on Dearborn Street? It was on the front page of the Salem News, thanks Dustin Luca. But right below that was this beautiful picture of Mark restoring, this was a house, was that on Essex? And it was a phenomenal article, and this is exactly in his wheelhouse, is working on historic projects, so I don't think that we could have a better candidate for this role, so I enthusiastically support his candidacy.
Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Nope, we're doing roll call vote.
Oh, thank you very much, I knew that. Just testing. Roll call vote, Madam Chair.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Duran.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. 11 members present, 11 members voting yea. It's unanimous.
Thank
Can you talk about Madam President discussion? President from which?
If I may suspend the rules, I asked Mr. Pattison if he wanted to speak, but he wanted to defer to Jessica Hebert, to the chair of the Historic Commission, if she would like to come and address us on his behalf.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
I can't say how excited I am about this. We've been waiting for about, 8 years to get him on the board, and we've needed to have a technician in the field, someone that's working on these different houses and so forth, basically dealing with new rules and regulations in terms of meeting code, and how can we disguise that and still keep the house look historic. And we haven't had, although we have architects, we don't have anyone in the field. And Mark not only is in the field, but he's also an expert on restoration of McIntyre houses and details. So it's a twofer. We are really excited. Couldn't be happier.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Chris Nagel of 11 Warren Street to the Salem Disabilities Commission for a term to expire December 3rd, 2018.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I cannot be more pleased that Mr. Nagel has volunteered to serve on this commission. He would be a great advocate for our community with all sorts of disabilities, cognitive, physical, and others. I truly believe that if we can design a city for the visually impaired, then it would be safe for anyone, whether you have any impairment or not. And I think Mr. Nagel and I had talked about some few ideas, and there are lots of obstructions in the city, especially downtown, where we were walking around that nobody thinks about, especially, things that he was talking about how a flower pot outside of a restaurant would hit his head, but he's really tall, and that's not even related to visual impairment sometimes, even if maybe the War 5 counselor sometimes has that experience because he's so tall, or even a flag that is outside a store that says open, and that would flap in someone's face if they can't see it, and that's a huge obstruction. So I'm really excited to have Mr. Nagel serve, and I very enthusiastically support his appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. As the liaison to the Commission on Disabilities here in Salem, I am very enthusiastically speaking about this appointment. Chris Nagel has been a volunteer attendee for quite some time with the Commission, and he always brings such wonderful perspective and ideas to us. And already, since he's since we did the first passage, he's brought so much forward to the Commission that I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring over the rest of his term.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Madore's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Duran?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Chris Nagel to the Disabilities Commission, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Nagel to address the council.
Councilor Madore moves to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Nagel to address the council, should he so choose. Seeing no objection, Mr. Nagel, if you'd like to approach the podium.
Thank you, Madam President, other councilors. I'd like to say I'm really honored to have the privilege of serving on the Salem Commission on Disabilities. I really hope to make a significant impact. I feel like the city of Salem has a lot of potential for everyone, and I really want to make sure that everyone can enjoy all of the everything that Salem has to offer. And I think the biggest thing to think of is that if something's brought up that, as Councilor Maduro was talking about, in terms of the flower pots, it's not necessarily that, it's not just for people with disabilities. There's a lot of things that people with disabilities advocate for, but benefits many people. And one of the prime examples you can think of are like curb cuts at sidewalks. So I'd like to just sort of, hopefully you can see the work that I do on the commission is not about diversity and inclusion, but more about empathy. Thank you.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Patrick Shea, 31 Highland Street, Salem, to the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term to expire May 1st, 2019.
Councilor Fury.
Madam President, I wish to have it held under the rules, please.
Councilor Fury moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's reappointment of Donald Bates to the Board of Registrars of Voters with a term to expire on July 19th, 2021.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor McCarthy moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Briefly, Don Bates has been an asset to this board for a long time. He does a fine job, and I wholeheartedly support his continuation in that role.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Turio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's reappointment of Donald Bates to the Board of Registrar of Voters, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Do we have a motion? I see Comcast is here. I don't know if anybody's here for anything else.
Return to the regular order.
Thank you. Councilor Terrell moves that we return to the regular order, going back to page 3, hearings.
Order from Comcast to install a conduit and vault for 160 Bridge Street.
Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, let's see. Oh, okay. I haven't heard anything from any neighbors concerned about this. I know that we all in our packets received some conditions from the city engineer that I just wanted to quickly read into record before you present, if that's all right. Number 1, that if construction is required in the sidewalk, the entire sidewalk panels will be replaced at the completion of the work. 2, if construction is required in the roadway, the entire roadway surface, curb to curb, from 1 foot on either side of the proposed construction, be ground out 2 inches and 2 inches on new pavement, be installed curb to curb pavement for restoration. And with that,
Would you state your name and address, please?
Dave Llewellyn, Comcast. I'd like to speak in favor of the petition for Bridge Street to install a conduit to provide service to 160 Bridge Street.
Anybody else would like to speak in favor of this motion, this request? Anybody else? In favor? In favor?
No.
Oh, sorry about that. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm just sorry. I'm kind of thrown off by this. That, as I said, I haven't heard from any constituents who expressed any concerns about this. I know that this is a needed project, that this is something that, again, the support for this came from our city engineer, so I'm also in support of this, and I don't know if, will those conditions, actually, I guess really the big question is, when are you going to do this?
If it's approved tonight, we'll, as soon as we receive the paperwork that it's been approved, we'll apply for the street opening permit.
Okay, and then how long do you anticipate?
Should only take a couple of days to do the work.
Okay, great, because of course, even though October is like 2.5 months away, it's always
Our plan is to start it right away.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Then I have no further concerns.
Any members of the city council like to discuss? Any other discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the hearing be closed. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Opposition.
Oh, if anybody's in opposition.
That's what I was going to do myself, just in case afterwards, but I did it first, then, anybody else in the chambers opposed to the request by Comcast? Anybody opposed? Hearing no opposed. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize again
No,
for
me
being
too.
all discombobulated about this. I haven't done one of these in a long time. So I move that the hearing be closed.
All those in favor that the hearing be closed? The hearing is closed.
And I
Councilor Gerard.
further move that the order be granted with the conditions stated by the city engineer.
Hearing no further discussion. All those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you, Councilor Gerard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for appealing.
Thank you.
He's got 2 more. So he's not going anywhere.
He's not done. So further hearings.
We have an order from Comcast to install a conduit for 15 Front Street.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, sorry. I haven't done
one of these at all.
It's the summer break always throws me. September's going to be even worse. I'm sorry. So appearing in favor, and name and address for the record.
Yep. Dave Walling, Comcast. I'd like to speak in favor of the Comcast proposal for Front Street to place 35 feet of conduit in the sidewalk to provide service to number 15 Front Street.
Thank you. Anybody appearing opposed? Seeing none, Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that hearing be closed.
Councilor Madore moves that the hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those. Oh, I'm sorry. You have a. Do you want to ask after I close the hearing and then, or do you want to ask the question now?
During the hearing, please.
I'm sorry?
During the hearing.
During the hearing. Okay. So before the hearing's closed, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to be sure that all too often some of these repairs, and Comcast has always done a pretty good job. It's natural gas that I have trouble with, but all too often the replacement of these lines and repairs leave kind of a mess in our sidewalks. And I want to make sure that like items are replaced by like items, so the brick and the cobblestones and the concrete patterns will be replaced with identical patterns.
Yes.
It's in the conditions.
It's not always done this way, the good Ward 5 Council, thank you for that. But it's not always done that way, Madam President. I want to make sure, and that's why I'm stating it, that it comes back identical.
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Councilor Madore?
I move for this hearing to be closed.
Councilor Madore moves that the hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Madore?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the order be granted.
Councilor Madore moves that the order be granted. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Thank you. Actually, no, don't go anywhere. Further hearings.
We have an order from Comcast to install an underground conduit to provide service to 267 Highland Ave.
And appearing in favor.
Dave Walling, Comcast. I'd like to speak in favor of the Comcast petition to place 15 feet of conduit from utility pole number 63 to service number 267 Highland Avenue.
And is there anyone else appearing in favor? Anyone else appearing opposed? Seeing none, Councilor Peterson.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I was just a little concerned on the plans. Dave, you've done a great job as long as I've known you. The last two presentations were very detailed and professional. This one here, I can't even tell where the work is, what the work is. You just can't see anything on this plan, so I think your engineer dropped the ball on this one.
That was a different engineer that did that plan.
Can you just briefly explain what you're doing here?
So basically, there's a existing utility pole 63 that runs parallel with Highland Ave, and we're going to be excavating off of that pole approximately 15 feet in the right-of-way in the grass strip, crossing the sidewalk, and then onto private property, which is basically the Taco Bell restaurant that has requested the service. So the work is not in the street, it's actually in the grass shoulder and sidewalk area.
Any further questions?
No, I'm all set, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the hearing be closed.
Councilor Peterson moves that the hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you. I just want to say I confirmed ahead of time that there'll be little to no disruption to the neighbors or the area. So I move that this order be granted.
Councilor Peterson moves that the order be granted. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Thank you.
Now you're done. Okay, so now we finished page 6, so we're going to page 7. Communications from the mayor.
President,
Yes, Councilor McCarthy.
only because there seems to be only one person left in the room.
Okay.
Under committee reports, the gentleman from Sci-Fi's been sitting over there.
Okay.
It was suggested to him last night that maybe he should stay on an extra night and be here for this, and so
Okay.
since he's indulged us for the last
Hour and a half. Yes, thank you,
can
sir.
we take out our
Okay, so we're going to page 21.
21 reports?
Committee reports on page 21. So committee reports, Councilor McCarthy. And this is the
Thank you,
top.
Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, July 19th, 2018. The Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-postal Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a fiber optic network installation agreement, has considered said matter and recommend adoption.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Last night we had the gentleman from Sci-Fi come in with his engineer, or I don't know, engineer would be probably the closest term to describe, the foreman in charge of all the work, and there was a lot of great questions asked about non-streets that aren't actually declared streets, and whether or not they would be going up those, what we do on public highway, public state roads, because our street opening permits don't apply to state roads, which would actually be indicative of the last order we just saw, because it was on Highland Avenue, it was in the grassy area, it was not on the street, because Highland Avenue is a state road. So that's why it was in front of us. But anyway, so as we look at this, we went through the agreement. It's basically, in a nutshell, Sci-Fi is going to provide a fiber optic network to go past every home and business in the city of Salem at no cost to the city. And at that point, if there is there'll be a connection out in front of everyone's home, and they contract with different providers, and if you enter into agreement with provider, then they bring the fiber network into your home, and then you can get whichever fiber optic provider, whether it's for phone, cable, or gaming system, I don't know, whatever my kids want to do with it. There was a lot of good questions. It's a 30-year agreement with a 30-year option if we so choose. It's basically, there was a lot of good questions about the 30-year option. That works into their finance model. They obviously, at no cost to the city, they're extending out their costs over a 30-year time period in order for them to become competitive and offer competition for their services to go up against Comcast. I mean, who happens to be our local cable company. A lot of people in the city have been clamoring for years about A, higher speed, and B, competition. So the hope is with higher speed and competition, that will hopefully start some sort of a price war thing, and then the actual costs for homeowners and businesses may actually go down. But I know that fiber optics, as was described to us, they brought in a cable that the individual, when they did them in New York, he was working for a firm that installed the cables. The cable was this big, and now the same cable's about this big. And but as he stated, the same fiber optics, the glass isn't changing, it's just the way that they deal with it. So the glass fibers will always be good to transmit. But it's a unique proposal. It's something that, a lot of people said the individual from Sci-Fi doesn't want to use the word guinea pig because they're coming into the Massachusetts for the first time. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the city of Salem. A lot of these major companies didn't want to take on the infrastructure burden themselves. Sci-Fi and their finance team is going to take it on themselves with the hopes of no cost to the city, and we have the opportunity to have competition. At the same time as the city is also going to enter into an agreement with Sci-Fi that they're going to provide fiber optic cabling to connect all our municipal buildings, and so that opens up a litany of opportunities down the road that we can enter an agreement to access those cables and provide the DPS director to be able to turn the lights on in Bertram Field by pushing a button on his phone, as far as I know. So it's going to offer the whole smart technology with regards to traffic lights, street lights, and everything. So we had a long discussion. There was a lot of back and forth, but in the end, the committee voted 5-0 in favor to recommend that the mayor authorize an agreement. I mean, this is only the first step in this. Then they'll come in the whole engineering part, and then they'll be looking for street opening permits. The interesting thing about this, for anyone at home listening to this, is they use micro trenching. So the trench that you're not gonna see a backhoe down the street unless they run into a situation where they have to. They're going to have a machine that cuts a trench that is 0.91 inches wide. It chews up the street, lays the conduit, and then covers over the conduit with a black tar emulsion that fills the void up to it. They only have to trench down because it's fiber optic anywhere between like 12 to 16 inches, whatever their plans say. So the ability to be, hopefully it won't be as obtrusive or as burdensome as sometimes when you see when we try to, like as we're seeing down on Memorial Drive, they're wearing water lines. Backhoes all over the place. They're opening up the street as wide as they can. Everything is done in a trench about this big. So it's an exciting opportunity for the city. Once again, it's no cost to the city, and the recommendation was to let the mayor authorize to enter into this agreement.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. As the good Ward 1 council likes to say, not being a member of the committee, I'm not a member of the committee. I just want to compliment the good Ward 1 councilor on the excellent job he did. I sat through 2 of his meetings, and it was detail-oriented. A lot of the material was covered. But it's also the Ward 5 council that we need to thank for his technical expertise of jumping in and offering advice along the way. So we're lucky to have a councilor like him who has expertise in the entire field.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Fury?
Yes, I have major reservations about a 30-year lease. I spoke last night about a 30-year lease, 30-year contract. That's 15 city councils, pardon me, 15 city councils for 2 years. That's 15 city councils, possibly 5 mayors in 30 years. We're obligating the city on that contract. We now own the poles. As I talked to Councilor Terrell, who's very expert in the field. We now own the poles, Comcast coming in and so on, and different companies, Verizon, and so on. And this is a different way. But 30 years is a long commitment, and I'm not going to be around here for 30 years to see the end. I'm looking forward and excited to see the technology that's taking place and the excitement. We'll be one of the first ones in the state to have it. But what comes is a risk. It's 30 year. I can see giving a bond to a school or a renovation of a building. Well, I can't see giving a 30-year agreement to a private company. So I would be voting against. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Madam President. I was also uncomfortable with the 30-year agreement, the 30 plus 15 plus 15. I also had a lot of other reservations about the contract, and we did have a really, really long, informative discussion last night. I came to the conclusion after doing my due diligence that the benefit of the project overrode the 30-year contract. So I'm going to support this tonight, and I hope when I'm dead and gone in 30 years, they don't curse me for it.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor?
Should this be a roll call?
Would you like a roll call?
It's a 30-year situation, so I would request.
30-year situation. Okay, so 3 hands for a roll call. 3 hands? No 3 hands? Do I have 3 hands for a roll call? Okay, great. There we go. So, so we now will have a roll call vote on adopting the recommendation, which is for the committee's adoption. Thank you. So, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll? Or let me give you a moment to write down what we're voting on. So, we're clear, right? Great.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
No.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Very, very yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you very much. On the matter of, excuse me, entering into the agreement for the 30-year agreement with Sci-Fi Networks, fiber optics, we have 11 members voting, 11 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries. Okay, what are we doing? Are we going back to the
Page 7.
Going back to page 7. Okay.
Now I'll get started.
Okay.
Busy with that.
Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $208,445.12 in the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account to be expended for the fiscal year 19 contractual buybacks for a list of school employees in accordance with the recommendation of Her Honor the Mayor.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you. Briefly, Madam President. This is a large number of longtime school department employees who have all finally decided that this is the time to end their careers. I know several of them. Perla, for instance, was my son's guidance counselor for 8 years. These people have had long careers with the Salem school system. They're all moving on. I wish them all the best. I think this is, unfortunately, this is a lot of institutional, knowledge and expertise and history going, but that's the nature of this. We have hundreds of people in the school department, and sad that we're losing them, but congratulations to them all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrio's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Congratulations to all of those school employees. Further communications from the mayor.
Ordered that the sum of $95,561.68 is thereby appropriated from general fund balance reserved for free cash account to the following special revenue funds: Capital Improvement Fund 2000.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. These next are part of closing out fiscal year 18's books, fortunately, but I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, on Councilor Terrio, sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is part of just moving around, doing our housekeeping at the end of the year. We're putting some money that's into the, from our general fund free cash for fiscal year 2018 into the short-term capital fund. We've approved a lot of stuff over the last year, and this has helped make sure we cover all the costs.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrio's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $40,000 is hereby appropriated from the retained earnings trash fund account to the engineering solid waste collection account in accordance with the recommendation of the mayor.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the last one. I also move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, on Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Basically, the short version on this is we have two things that have driven up our costs on the recycling and solid waste collection side of the ledger. One is the change in the market for our recyclables. We used to be able to, Waste Management used to be able to contract and send a lot of our stuff off to foreign markets, especially China. Over the last year or so, as a result of conditions, they're a lot more selective about what material they will take. And that has driven up recycling costs all around the country and including here. So there's, things like hard plastic are no longer being accepted overseas. That used to be something we could recycle, now it isn't. The other thing is that the city, when we first went into this contract, we allowed one item of bulk waste pickup per recycle period. We changed that about a year ago to allow for two. So it's much more convenient for residents. They are taking advantage of it. There's a slightly higher cost as a result because they are doing more bulk pickups now than they used to. And so, and this deals with something because people used to dump big plastic things in the recycling. Now they deal with it as a bulk waste pickup. So, we're trying to do this. We're one of the cities that doesn't charge our customers for bulk waste collection. And this is just, we have to pay this way rather than charging the customers, the citizens directly.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I often like to see these go into, following the rules and go into the Committee on Administration and Finance. On this one here, I took the chairperson's advice and did some research. I reached out to the mayor's office, had a long conversation with the mayor's assistant on several issues, including this one. And I couldn't get an answer as to why we're spending this money with him. And he sent me to the city solicitor, to Beth Renard, for help. And I met with her as well, and I couldn't get an answer why. She suggested I meet with Dave Milton and Julie Rose in the engineering department. And then I met with the good Ward 5 counselor again. He suggested I go meet with him. So I did. I went over there to meet with him again in their offices, and neither one was available to meet with me to find this out. But in my mind's eye, we have an existing contract, and I understand a portion of it going to the additional pickups of bulky items. But a portion of this $40,000, roughly half, I think, is for issues with China and the way things are collected. And I'm problematic with this amount of money being spent because we have an existing contract with a server who is being paid almost 3 times the amount of what, maybe more, than what the previous collector was being paid. So they're being paid a heck of a whole lot of money. Very, very expensive contract, and now we're paying more money to them. So if this matter goes forward, I'll be voting against it tonight, and I don't have a problem with it going forward tonight because I guess it needs to go forward. But I will be voting against this tonight because I couldn't get the answers, and I'm not in favor of paying this contractor another penny because they're already making way too much money. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Terrell and then Councilor Fury.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly on this. So we're not, the contract with Waste Management is for a higher amount than we were paying Northside Carting. It is nowhere near 3 times. It's not even twice. It's,
No.
I think when we went into this contract, I mean, it's gone up a little bit with annually with inflation clauses, but I think it was about 15 to 20% more when we entered into this in 2015. It was higher. Northside Carting did have a very low price for them, and what we found is that they were unable to deliver service. And for a long time, we had regular miss. There's still one occasionally. Waste Management is not perfect, but they do a much better job of picking up on a regular basis than Northside Carting did for the last couple of years that they were on the city contract. So, in that sense, we're paying nowhere near that kind of money that's being stated there. It has gone up like the Waste Management or like the Northside Carting went up annually. This goes up a little bit annually as well. The other thing to point out is that our price per ton for trash is fixed. Our price for recycling in the contract is variable, and it does depend on what the market is for the recyclables. When the market is good, when recyclables are in demand, when paper and similar products are waste plastic are in demand by recyclers, then we get a higher price for it. That offsets some of our other costs, and it lowers the cost of collection. When they can't get as much for it, that affects our price in the other direction. So it is a variable cost. Our trash itself is a fixed cost, but the recycling is variable. And honestly, we are not, in the billing we're getting, that's not making up for as bad as the market for recycling has become. Paper still is in some demand. Plastic's in very little demand, including like the plastic water bottles on your desks and such. Those are pretty much not being paid for anymore, but we're still getting rid of it. So,
Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. Councilor Dominiquez and I had the pleasure of attending a Ward 6 meeting. Rosemary O'Connell's here, and the early spring we had the representatives of the Waste Management Company in, and we had a nice attendance by Ward 6 people from all around the city talking about the waste management and what they're doing about recycling and so on. What we can do, they spent over 1 hour of excruciating detail how China's going to impact the price of recycling. We could see that coming down the line if you listen very closely back in the early spring to where we are now, that prices would go up. So we saw the reality, Councilor Dominiquez and I. Thank goodness for Rosemary's organization. They came to a nice presentation, Waste Man, your Ward 6 Association, and they talked about China trade.
Yes.
Why did we talk about China trade? And here it is coming back to haunt us. So it's coming back to haunt us. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councilor Sargent.
Oh, thank you, Madam President. I had thought on the recycling that the benefit we got from the recycling was that we didn't have to pay to bring that to Resco to dump. So we didn't have to pay to dump it as trash.
Right.
And I thought the recycling company took it and got whatever they got for it. That was up to them. I didn't think we got the money back from that. The other thing is, on the bulk items, I think we're allowed 1 bulk item per week per household. So,
2 per pickup.
Now we're up to 2.
One, because it's picked up every 2 weeks. You're allowed 2 every 2 weeks, so 1 per week. And before we were getting 3 35-gallon trash barrels, so for 105 gallons under the old contract, which didn't work out with Northside. So we went all the way down to 1 66-gallon trash barrel. So people lost almost like 1 barrel's worth. So they are recycling, because I'm not seeing trash all over the place. So I'm just not sure. I thought this $40,000 should be within the contract is what I'm getting at. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrell, since you're standing.
Thank you, Madam President. When the contract was first put into place, we were allowed 1 bulk item pickup each recycling period. So it was every other week for the bulk pickup. And then that was changed to be 2 items this past year to allow for a second 2 items at the same time. But the pickup is only on a recycling week. That's when they do those pickups. So it's not 1 per week, it's 1 per recycling period, and now it's 2 per recycling period. And then the other thing is that what it is a lot of these items that previously had a recycle market are now bulk trash. And that increases the amount of trash going. And it also, from an cost offset standpoint, the money they could get for recycling offset cost to us. But now that there's less they can get from recycling, that offsets in the other direction. When the market does pick up, that lowers our costs some. So, it works both ways to some extent.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Only because I saw something online, and what councils have said kind of dawned on me. There was something online I read about the pickup, and I think this company is doing a good job, but it was about them on a week where you did trash and recycling. They were both going into the same truck. So if that be the case, and we're just talking about China and recyclables be at a lower price, could it be that at some point that it would be cheaper for them to throw the recyclables in with the trash and then go get paid for taking it to Resco than it would be for them to get it recycled? And I hope that doesn't happen, but when you hear a story about people throwing both barrels into the same truck, it could be just a matter of the end of the day. There was a couple of barrels that didn't have enough time to have the truck in by, whatever. But looking at the cost, I just hope it never becomes cost effective for them to be a little bit, funny with the recyclables. So, thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed. I'm opposed, sorry.
2 opposed, matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
Ordered that the sum of $2,000 is hereby appropriated in the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account to be expended for the negotiated sick leave buyback provision.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption under discussion.
This is fairly simple. They'd like to put a little bit of money into an account. This is not for a retired employee. This is for active employees. They've implemented a program to try and do some preemptive buyback of sick leave vacation time, with the idea that if they can buy some of that back now, it doesn't accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, and then we have big payouts in the future. And so some employees are interested in taking advantage of that, and so this is putting a little bit of money for them to try to make this work.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. So, okay. Further communications from the mayor. We're going to the bottom of page 9.
Ordered that the Salem City Council hereby declare that Lot 2, comprising of 3,900, give or take, square feet of land shown on plan entitled Plan of Land Salem, 289 Derby Street, property of City of Salem, property of South Harbor Holdings as surplus property. Be it further ordered that the Salem City Council, in accordance with City Ordinance Chapter 2, Section 2-277, hereby authorizes the mayor to execute a deed on behalf of the City of Salem conveying Lot 2 to the SRA for consideration of $10.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Only because it's 9 o'clock, and I would sit here and argue for the next 15 minutes about approving this tonight, because the merits of it are great, but I think there's going to be so much discussion, I will be here till 10, and we'll just keep going. So I'm going to move it to committee. But I just want to say, for anyone who's got any questions, they need to ask these questions in advance, because I'm telling you right now, this is exactly what we talked about when we acquired this piece of property. It's about creating an easement X amount of feet out from the buildings that are on that side, from one side all the way to the other, to allow to create some cafe spaces, and then the owners of those buildings are going to open up those buildings facing towards the park to create a wonderful space, a vibrant space, an open space, and it's going to, and it's not, so where we still own the land. We can, all we're doing is convey it to the SRA, so the SRA then can enter into the agreements with the building owners in order to do this. It's complicated, and I understand that, but the merits are there. I've had numerous discussions with the building owner and with the various entities. This is the right way to do it, but I don't think I can sit here and explain it enough tonight in order to get enough people to agree with it. So I'm going to ask to move it to committee, because it's going to work, and it's going to be a wonderful amenity to that site.
Thank you. And so you want to recommend to move it to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted?
Sure.
Okay. On Council McCarthy's motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to allow short-term
Waive the reading.
rentals.
Waive the reading.
Okay, so the order is on Council McCarthy,
Yes, page 14.
page 14.
you,
Council
Madam
McCarthy show.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Co-posted.
Co-posted, please.
Council McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole under discussion.
Thank you. I mean, this was brought, the idea of this was initially brought in by Council Dominguez, and it's been in Council Dibble's committee, and they had a meeting, and then they had a public informational sessions about the proposed ordinance. The ordinance has been tweaked a little bit. It's got to the point where the administration and the planning department and whoever else was involved on the executive side of it worked with what came out of committee and what came out of the public meeting and what came out of the original draft, tweaked the draft to what's basically in front of us. And there is no way that we're all taking this all in tonight. It was 6 pages in it, and trying to digest it and get it to a vote tonight. So once again, the committee will be very busy during the month of August, and I will just say shorts are allowed during that month. The air conditioning's not working. But all that being said, obviously this is a serious issue in a bunch of different neighborhoods for a variety of different reasons. There's pros and cons on both sides. I'm not going to argue the merits of it. A lot of what's in here has been is what Boston did, and we've tweaked some of that. So there's going to be a discussion about it. But this is serious stuff. It's happening all over the city. It's happening fast and furious, and there are concerns that on both sides that need to be addressed. And I think that we need to get this in place. So we'll be meeting on this to try to get something back in front of us early on.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. This was before my committee, as the good Ward 1 councilors talked about. Twice we had meetings on this, total of about 4.5 hours. We met, took public testimony, and I'd like to thank my committee for the excellent job that they did. Then the mayor, the mayor had an excellent informational meeting on this, I think a week ago Monday, I think it was, and that was good. And it was good to see 5 or 6 of the councilors present at that meeting. But I'd like to thank the good Councilor Flynn and the good Councilor Dominguez for volunteering and jumping on board and reviewing the draft ordinances as part of our committee. We came up with a solution to get this thing going. I thought that this should come back into my committee, but I'm absolutely confident that the good Ward 1 council will do a good job on this in his committee. My committee spent a lot of time on this. They're up to speed on it, and I thought it should come back, but it really doesn't matter. As long as we have a good product at the end of the day that comes out, I'm okay with that. But be warned, Councilor 1, there's going to be a lot of public testimony that will come forward in your committee on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy's motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, Councilor Dibble.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot to mention, thank you, Madam President. This is a zoning issue, and the next page has another part of the same matter.
Right.
And the page 16 has the third part of the exact same matter. This whole thing is a zoning change. It's part of a zoning change. And I think that before the Good Lord One Councilors Committee meets on this, I think that we should hold the public hearing and get comment from the planning board on this whole matter, because it is so important to the whole city. So rather than seeing this come out of committee and back to us before the public hearing is scheduled with the zoning board, this whole matter should be taken all together as one matter, because it is one matter. It's one ordinance speaking to short-term rentals. It's a zoning change, and it should be heard with a joint public hearing with the planning board.
But this could also inform the joint public hearing. If we have a decision that comes out of OLA and comes back here, then those decisions from the ordinances on page 14 and 15, those could inform that joint public hearing, could they not?
I think, Madam Chair, I think you missed my point a little bit. The whole issue here before us is a zoning change, and it should be handled as a zoning change. And it's not, the way the wording is happening here, it's not a zoning change at all. It is a zoning change. Quite clearly it is.
I don't see how you see that. I mean, 15 is about penalties.
It's speaking to allowed uses within
But
certain...
16 is the one that addresses the allowed uses, and that's why the recommendation is for the joint public hearing on that particular table, and this is really an ordinance aspect.
Madam President, my point is that I'd like to hear the planning board's suggestions and guidelines and recommendation before we take action on any of these three matters, because they're all related together. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, so what's your motion?
Madam President, I didn't make a motion. I just stated a fact that I'd like to see these handled as one matter.
Okay. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I will, as soon as we receive the rest of these matters, which we haven't received yet because they're in the agenda, but specifically with regards to the, on page 16, the only matter that's in front of a joint public hearing is the table. The table clearly states where they are not allowed and where they are allowed, and whether it's a short-term or a long-term. That's all. That's what the zoning change would be, because that's the perceived change would be that if you're allowing a non-owner that, as drafted, a non-owner occupied unit would not be allowed in an R1 or an RC zone. And conversely, if it was in some of the other, which is all stated in the table. So that's what's in front of the joint public hearing. The rest of it is an ordinance, and the ordinance specifically isn't a zoning change. It's relative to what the definitions are and whatnot. So I will consult with the legal department, with the city solicitor on this, whether or not we should have the public hearing take up the table first, or whether we should do the other stuff and have that in place first before we have the public hearing, because it could be a thing of putting the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart type of thing. So I will make sure that we do it in a proper way, but I see the arguments on both sides, but with this one, the specific change in zoning is the allowable uses. In the ordinance, we don't have an ordinance in place so that addresses the whole issue of short-term rentals. So it's a delicate issue, so I will defer to the legal department on which way we'll proceed. Once I receive all three orders in my committee, I'll confer with the legal department to make sure that we're on the proper legal ground in order to proceed forward in whichever way we should do that.
Okay, so what you're saying, you'll take care of it. So we move it to your...
The city solicitor and I will devise the proper plan of how to move forward in the timing of what happens when.
Okay, so just to assuage any concerns so you will speak to we will Move to refer this to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. In the meantime, you will schedule those meetings. You will also talk to the city solicitor. If the city solicitor determines in her legal expertise that really this should be part of the joint public hearing, then you guys will discharge it. And then it will come back to us
I'll
as
figure out
going.
the logistics of the whole thing, but I'll make sure that it works correctly, because the last thing I want to do is have a joint public hearing where we're specifically talking about zoning, and then we're talking about everything else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
But if everything else is supposed to be included, then we'll have to work that out. But I will have that conversation with the city solicitor and make sure that we're firmly pointed in the right direction.
And so your motion remains the same?
My motion hasn't changed.
Okay, great. Okay, so any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion that we refer this to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend the ordinance to set
Waive the reading.
fines.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Licenses, Orders, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor McCarthy.
It's the second part of the first part.
Yep. Okay, so Councilor McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion, all those in, wait, Councilor Sargent, did you have?
No,
Okay, you were ready to just vote. Okay, great. I think I talk fast, but you got up ahead of me. Impressive. So, on Councilor McCarthy's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to zoning.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter be referred to the Planning Board to schedule a joint public hearing with the City Council.
Councilor McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Planning Board to schedule a joint public hearing with the City Council. Any discussion?
I will work with the city solicitor, the planning board, and the city clerk in order to schedule a meeting. I mean, obviously, the timing of this, hopefully we can get, once I determine with the city solicitor which way this whole process should move, A before B, B before C, C before A, whichever way it is, and then we'll figure it out, and then we'll schedule whichever ones we need to schedule first and make sure we have it going in the correct order.
Great. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I thank the good Ward 1 Councilor for his willingness to coordinate this. With regard to this third matter, the table of allowed uses throughout the whole city, this speaks to the lion's share of the whole city, but it does not speak to the NRCC district, which is part of the city. So I had a lengthy conversation with the Assistant City Solicitor and the City Solicitor today on this matter. And if we were to add it later, during the public hearing process, then we'd be outside the four corners of how we advertised it. So my suggestion to them, and they're considering it, is to add the NRCC to this whole discussion so it's advertised. I'm not recommending that these be allowed or not allowed in the NRCC, but it needs to be part of the conversation because they're part of Salem. And that's the only part of Salem that's not in this table at all. My friendly amendment here would be to add the NRCC to this table of contents for consideration, and it's advertised and included as being part of the city of Salem.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
I have no problem accepting an amendment as long as the city solicitor is consulted first to make sure it's legal beforehand. As long as it can be added. I mean, it seems that the NRCC, for whatever reason, is like an afterthought in all the tables in the zoning, and it always seems to be admitted. I mean, so I think that try to include it now makes sense. So, but as long as it meets as long as we get into the four corners before we start, and it's legal the way it is, then fine. Because the last thing I want to do is come back and have a discussion about this, and then have to reschedule another public hearing to take up just the NRCC. So I have no problem with that friendly amendment.
Thank you. On Councilor McCarthy's motion as amended to refer this to the Planning Board to schedule a joint public hearing with the City Council, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. That time of year, Madam President, for elections, and our election primary is coming out on Tuesday, September 4th. So City Clerk has requested I make this order to allow the Tuesday, September 4th, 2018, 7 to 8 p.m. For the election in all the wards and precincts, and I waive the meeting to allow the adoption to take place for the primary on September 4th. Madam President.
September 4th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. polls will be open, and hopefully people will come out and vote.
Thank you,
Okay.
Madam City Clerk.
And you move for adoption.
I move for adoption.
On Councilor Fury's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Let's see. We are going to page 20, motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sargent.
Motions, orders, and resolutions. Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, July 19th, 2018. Ordered that the city solicitor requests from the Peabody Essex Museum a list of all items in their possession, custody, or control that are owned by the City of Salem. Move for adoption.
Councilor Sargent moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Just been getting a lot of questions with what's going on with the Phillips Library about what does a museum have that's owned by the City of Salem. So I'm simply asking that the city solicitor legally ask them for a list of items in their control that are owned by the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble. And then Councilor Cheriel. And then also I want
Councilor
to...
Fury
And then I just want to... Oh, yes, that's right, because this is the Peabody Essex Museum that I just want to acknowledge that Councilor Fury recused himself. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. This is an excellent motion. And quite frankly,
Out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is about the Peabody Essex Museum. You Peabody Essex Museum.
Sorry about that. I knew that.
I know. Just testing. Thank you. I'm sorry, Councilor Dibble. Please continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a friendly amendment, if I may. I know that there's several, call them artifacts, pieces of history, whatever you want to call them, that were loaned to the City of Salem. The families a couple hundred years ago chose to hold on to the ownership. So if I may add a friendly amendment that not only the properties that are owned by the City of Salem be provided the list, but that those that are on loan to the City of Salem that the PBS Museum has been holding on to be added to the list as well.
It would be custody. It would fall under custody.
Yeah.
What?
These are, I'm sorry, let me clarify what I'm trying to say.
Please.
These are items that were not donated to the City of Salem.
Can you speak up a little? I'm sorry, they can't hear.
We really can't hear you.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know if the microphones are on.
I have the microphones, so you all know the microphones
They record.
do not affect the room itself.
They don't
just go for
amplify.
the recording and for the television. So the folks at home can hear me, and usually you're probably the first person in decades that have said I don't speak loud enough. So thank you for asking me to speak up. The friendly amendment is simply that there are artifacts and pieces of history that that families have held on to the ownership, but they've loaned them to the City of Salem. And they've been cared for and protected by the PBS Museum for decades. So just a friendly amendment that not just a list of the properties owned by the City of Salem be provided, but those that are on loan to the City of Salem be provided as well. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay. Councilor Sargent?
Definitely accept that.
Okay, so on Councilor Sargent's motion for adoption as amended, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
I have one extra.
And I'm sorry, and any further motions, orders, and resolutions? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, July 19, 2018, ordered that the Government Services Committee meet to discuss problems with last year's paving projects, to discuss homeowners' concerns with flooding and concerns with excess pavement that covers the curb, causing water to flow onto private property. Invited the city engineer, assistant city engineer, affected homeowners. Move adoption, no discussion. Move to go to committee because it's late
Thank
file.
you. Since it's late file, we can't discuss it, so on Councilor Sargent's motion that this matter be referred to the Committee on Government Services, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Any further motions, orders, and resolutions? Seeing none. Committee reports. Councilor Cheriel.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, July 19, 2018. The Committee Administration Finance co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of appropriation in the amount of $33,000 from fund balance reserved for appropriation free cash account to the Treasurer's credit card fee account, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation under discussion.
Yes, Madam President, thank you. So just very briefly, this is fairly simple. We have more kiosks in the garage. We have more kiosks in the parking lots. We have more use of credit cards in the city in general to pay for things. Along with that credit card usage, there are some good things in that it brings in overall a little bit more total revenue comes in when people can pay by credit card. They pay for longer periods of time. They pay through apps. They extend, they'll pay for a longer block because they don't have to find cash to do it. But we also have to pay more in fees. That amount is variable based on the amount of usage. So credit card usage has been very high with the shift over to an fully automated garage system late last year, and the installation of the kiosks that are now in several of the lots, and our credit card fees have gone up. So the amount we're paying credit card fees has gone up, the percentage hasn't gotten up. That still gets shopped around periodically by the city to try and get the best processing deals they can. But that's basically where this is from. We have more money coming into the city via credit cards, therefore we have more money that we have to pay out in credit card fees. So that's the simple part of it.
Any further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion to accept the recommendation of the committee, which is an approval? All those in favor? All those opposed? 2 opposed, the matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, July 19, 2018. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posed with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of parking rates for municipal parking garages and lots, has considered said matter and would recommend that the order be adopted as amended by replacing there's a typo in here. The time and the hours were not incorporated, are not within the Administration Finance Committee's purview. That's in Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs, because that affects and that's in that committee right now. So just to correct you there. So replacing the rates proposed by the Traffic and Parking Commission with the mayor's recommendation on rates. And I'll explain once we accept the committee report.
Okay, on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. So when we got this in City Council 3 weeks ago now, we had a set of the initial rates were proposed by the Traffic and Parking Department that they worked out. Then the commission met and reviewed it and came up with their rates, and then the mayor proposed some further changes to it. One was simplifying the garages paying October to be simply one short-term rate, one longer-term rate. And that's much simpler and gives residents who need to dash downtown and go in the garage an opportunity to pay a lower fee if they're going to use it. Another one that's included in this is in our kiosk lots that we now have, like the one like on Essex Street and down by the MBTA station so far, with more to come, and also Church Street, more to come. We now will have the ability to have resident license plates programmed into the system, the information that they already have downstairs. The license plates will be programmed in the system so that if you punch in a resident, if you're a resident of Salem and you have a car registered in Salem, you'll be getting a discount in those lots. So you'll be paying a lower rate than people who visit the town. So that's one of the things to try and keep this, to try and minimize the impact. And hopefully, Nick Downing was here. We had a good meeting with him last night, the acting director of traffic and parking. The idea is to try and increase some circulation, get some more spaces open on the street, encourage people to not park long-term on the street and to do their long-term parking in lots and garages. And we haven't adjusted this since the parking plan was put into place back in 2011. This is our first real look at it. So the committee had the discussion last night. The hours are something that will be up separately, the hours of enforcement, and whether any lots will be open on Sundays for, whether any of those will have action. That's going to be a separate meeting and will be held at a later date. But so the committee recommended that we go forward with this.
Any further discussion? Councilman Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you to the Ward 5 councilor. Just making sure that the resident rate with the kiosks, the machine has a way to figure out who's a resident. Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Councilor Terry.
Nick went through that with us last night about how that system works. It's basically It's pretty neat. They have the table downstairs in the assessor's office because that's how the excise tax is calculated, and they know what cars are in Salem. They have all the lists. Those lists get fit into the system. So in the park by plate lots that we have, which by the way, they work terrific. I've become a frequent user of them. You punch in your license plate, it knows right away that you're a Salem resident. That, you know, you've got a Salem car. You punch in your license plate, it automatically gives you the discounted rate right away.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrell's, on adoption of the recommendation, the order adopted as amended. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Flynn, you have to recuse yourself. Let the record reflect that Councilor Flynn is recusing himself.
The good news is this will be really quick.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, July 19, 2018. Committee Administration Finance co-posted committee of the whole, to whom was referred the matter of appropriation in the amount of $20,000 for an assessment center for the fire chief, has considered said matter and would recommend discharging the matter from committee since the order was withdrawn by the mayor, from the mayor's office.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, any discussion?
No discussion necessary.
Mayor
Pretty
withdrew it.
self-explanatory.
That's it. Okay, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. I guess that's the quickest recusal ever. Okay. Let's see, we are going to page 24, communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the city solicitor filing a request to withdraw the council order that was filed on January 11, 2018 relative to the exemption of the conflict of interest law for the mayor to serve on the housing authority.
And let the record reflect that Councilor Milo has recused herself. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption. Under discussion.
No, it's basically they're asking us to, they're withdrawing the motion they brought in earlier in the year, so.
Okay. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent?
I believe the reason being is that it timed out. The first two parts from the state I can understand withdrawing. But we already have, it's being asked to be put back in committee. So the part that involves the waiver from the conflict of interest is not under the state's purview. It wasn't brought in by the state. That's something that's before us. So the third part is in committee and should remain in committee because the only way to take it out of committee would be to discharge it, just as we did tonight with claims that were withdrawn. Even if a claim is withdrawn or paid by Maya, paid by insurance, when it's in committee, we can't just cross it off. We have to vote in committee to discharge it. So something in here is being asked to be withdrawn for the reason that the appointment timed out. It didn't time out. Things in our committee don't time out unless they go over December 31st. So I would have to at least separate the question because we still have this issue in committee, still before the Legal Affairs Committee, so.
Okay, so this is just withdrawing the request from DHCD, so I think that this is separated out. But Councilor McCarthy also had his hand raised.
It mentions at the bottom, I'll sit down a minute, that the conflict of interest law exemption from the council. So I've enclosed a new order. So the conflict the part that's the conflict of interest is also made withdrawn, and it's being asked to be voted to be withdrawn and then voted to be put for adoption again later on tonight. So that part, I believe, should remain in committee.
Okay, Councilor McCarthy.
With all due respect, I disagree because if you don't have the first part, you don't have the second part. So if it's timed out, you can't act on it anyway because it would have to be brought in as a separate order anyway, which is going to be brought in after the fact. So the fact that it's in committee, yes, at some point would it have to be acted on? Yes, it would have to be discharged because there's no merit to it because there's nothing to back it up because the merit for which it was brought in has been timed out. So it's all one continuous thing. So even if the argument is the first two parts are timed out, but the third part's still in committee, well, the third part's still in committee relative to the part that the first two parts that are just timed out. So that it makes it a moot point. So it's just going to be discharged like any other thing that at the end of either the year or the next meeting, if it's on the agenda, to discharge it, because there's no merit to it, because the parts that were relative to it have timed out. That's why the second order brings the whole package back in as a whole, because the first two parts have timed out. That's my opinion. I'll yield the floor, but that's my opinion.
Thank you.
I do. I
Councilor
understand.
Sargent.
I understand that argument, but it would, if it was being brought in again 2 weeks from now at another meeting, I can understand. But we're being asked to withdraw something and then bring it back in within minutes of each other. So if it's going to be in committee, whether it's in committee under the wording of what we have before us on page 24, or in committee under the wording we have before us on page 25, it's still in committee.
But we haven't sent that to committee. The new order hasn't been sent to committee yet.
So the only thing we have in committee, we don't have the mayor's appointment from the state. We don't have in committee the exemption that the state gave them there.
Right.
All we have in committee, if it's going to be a moot point to leave it in there, it's all we have in there to begin with. So we don't have the first two parts in there right now at all. That's what I say. We don't have the mayor's appointment from the state in committee. We don't have the exemption from the state in committee. Those are the things that timed out. So that's all that has to be asked to be withdrawn tonight. What we have in committee is just the mayor's exemption for that. And so it's by itself in committee as it is now. So why can't it stay by itself in committee? So in essence, by doing this, we're taking it out of committee without discharging it. And that, no matter what happens, you're supposed to leave something in committee until the committee votes to discharge it and recommends that vote to discharge to the full council. So this vote in a backdoor way takes that out of committee. And that's not the way the process works. So I'd ask to separate the question.
So I think if I'm hearing you correctly, that, okay, so Council McCarthy's motion for adoption is related to the first part, really, and part of the second part of this letter from the city solicitor. Your issue is with the last sentence.
Right.
Is that correct?
The last paragraph.
Is that
yeah.
But it's not up to us if DHCD is interested in
Exactly.
that. I mean, that's not before us. We can't say what's before us is the conflict of interest law exemption. So it's really just that last sentence that you're expressing concern about, that you're saying we can't do anything with it because that's still in committee.
Might I try to just clarify a little bit?
Yeah, please.
After the word DHCD, it's all explanatory. So if we eliminate from DHCD down to thank you for your consideration on this request and just go the paragraph above that, housing authority which was submitted with the exemption request has expired. Thank you for your consideration of this request. So we withdraw that. The other is explanatory, but there'd be confusion about us taking something out of committee that's there. So I respectfully ask that we eliminate that part and just vote on the first paragraph.
Okay. Wait, was that a motion?
I'm not done yet.
I don't think there was anything to second yet.
No, there's a, hold on. This one. Yeah, because it's actually mentioned in the first part also, so.
But it's just explaining what the issue is. The issue is for us to just accept the withdrawal.
Right. All we need is to accept it. I just ask that we eliminate any request 268A and 20B on the conflict of interest law and accept the withdrawal of the mayor's appointment. That's all.
Councilor McCarthy? I think we both have the same look on our face.
Why can't we just take a vote? Let's be honest. Let's just take a vote.
Okay.
Vote this, take the next one up, take a vote, and be done with it. I mean, I don't understand what the issue is. I mean, we're sitting there playing semantics about something that has been timed out, so there's no relative argument to say okay, well, the original order is timed out, but since the original order was also included something that is now, was attached to the original order, but is also going to be potentially attached to the second order, so that's already in front of us, so we're going to keep that, but then re-accept the first part of the second order, but we don't want to take a vote on it because the committee wants to not take up the matter at all, and when they do, they just leave it in committee, so we don't bring the whole thing to a vote. So let's just bring it to a vote. Up or down, done, deal with it, over, move.
That's, but if I could,
Councilor Sargent.
I appreciate the explanation, thank you. But if we vote to adopt this first part, we're taking the issue of the exemption from the conflict of interest law. We're eliminating that out of committee because we're eliminating it here. Then we're bringing it out back in again, which is, in essence has brought it out of committee for a vote on the council floor without having a committee vote to do so. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. The conflict of interest issue is still in committee and should remain in committee until it's voted out of committee and with a recommendation to the full council. So that, I hope we can all see that.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. Several minutes ago, we discharged a matter from committee by adoption because the request was withdrawn by the administration. And we just did that very simply with a quick vote.
Right.
I see no reason why not we can't just do the same thing and determine whether we're going to accept this or not.
I think what Councilor Sargent is trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because we're not doing this part of it, withdrawing or discharging this matter from committee because of the Baker administration's withdrawal, he's saying that we can't do it. Councilor Sargent, does that sound right? Is that the correct interpretation of what you're saying?
It is. We could actually, we could go in reverse and move to page 25 and refer that to committee and then move backwards and eliminate this, and then we'll still have the same process we have in place now with the reboot of the date. So rather than do it that way there, I would also recommend that we go to page 25, move that matter to committee, then go back to page 24 and discharge this, so that will be in order. It'll still be in committee where it is now. So,
Councilor McCarthy?
I make that.
I'm not going to argue the merits, I'll just argue the fact that, with all due respect to the at-large council, the only person that can ask to make a motion of where it goes in committee, whether it's adopted and moves to committee, is the chair. So that would be my consideration, whether or not I would want to, if we move to page 25, if I move for adoption or I move for referral. And then if I were to move for adoption, then it would take, if the vote was against moving for adoption, then it would take a vote of the city council president in order to decide whether or not it goes to committee or goes for a vote tonight.
Right.
That's the way the rules work.
If
Okay, so I don't know that I've ever done this before. So we're going to pause this one on page 24 to go to 25 to take that vote to then come back to 24. Is that what the will of the body is?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Is really okay? That's the will of the body that we're gonna. Madam City Clerk, does that even make sense? Can you do that? Can you hang on one second, Councilor
I'm sorry.
So can we do that? Can we just kind of
It may not.
pause here, go ahead, and come back?
It's like taking anything out of order. Like
It is, but we had already started this discussion. That's the only thing that's just a little odd.
Well, then you take a vote on it, so you move it.
Okay.
If I could,
hang on,
a little,
hang
I'm
on.
sorry.
That would be the thing.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
It's the will of the body, but
Okay.
that if you started, depends if that's the motion made and that's the will of the body.
Okay, so, okay. Councilor Harden and Councilor Sargent?
Thank you. The fact that I was the one who made the motion, I refer that we go back to page 24.
No, 25?
No, I'm going to start with page 24.
You're going to start with page 24. We're staying with 24.
At 24, I made the motion for adoption. I withdraw my motion, and I move that we move to page 25 out of order.
Okay, so you're withdrawing the motion to adopt. We are moving to page 25, communications from city officials. I'm sorry, hang on 1 second. And then, I'm sorry, Councilor Sargent, I had also said that after Councilor McCarthy, you could speak.
I'm sorry for the confusion, and it is confusing. I've never run into a case where we're withdrawing something the same night and the next page we're bringing it in again. It's very confusing. And so my whole point is that if we are to be voting on the conflict of interest tonight in any way, shape, or form, we ought to be debating the conflict of interest, because I sent an email to all the council today, and much of the talk has been on money, if I could, about the conflict of interest, and it's not about money. It's about following the conflict of interest law. We all have to download that every year. We all have to read it. We all have to sign it and say that, under penalty, that we're going to follow it. And the conflict of interest law states, who a municipal employee is. And it's very broad. It includes elected officials, board members, and, like I say, I have the pages I've read it way too much more than I want to read something. But it's far-ranging. And then you go further down, and it says that a housing authority board member is a municipal employee. They're an employee, like it or not. So it says that employees of the housing authority may hold elective office. They need a waiver to do so. But other than mayor. So it specifically prohibits in the conflict of interest law an employee of the housing authority or municipal employee from being a mayor. And that's where the conflict of interest lies, and that's what I'm seeing that. So I can't go and read that conflict of interest every year and sign it saying I know and I understand all of this, and then go and vote for a conflict of interest that it says is a conflict. So that, I think that's where our debate lies tonight. And my intent is to keep that still in committee, or if we vote for it, we'll all have an understanding that there's a very good chance we're violating the law. So, thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody else have any other comment? I guess, Councilor Fury, do you want to?
Councilor Girard.
Thank you, Mr. President. So that's not exactly the full way that the conflict of interest law works, that you have to understand what the intent is. The intent of the waiver that is before us is to determine can we as a body agree that the mayor will put aside she recognizes that there is an appearance of a conflict of interest, just like you try not, like you recuse yourself on something with the PBS Museum. I recuse myself on something with North Shore Medical Center. Councilor Flynn recuses something on the fire department. So, but when there comes a time where, like, for example, when we were talking about the city clerk issue and figuring out the hiring process, that everybody said, you know what, we will sign a conflict of interest waiver, that we recognize that there is an appearance of a conflict of interest, but we, to the best of our abilities, are going to put that conflict of interest aside. We are signing these pieces of paper that say we are putting these conflicts of interest aside so that we can be objective members of this body, so we can take a vote for the city clerk. This is the same exact thing that is before us now. So really the question is, well, what is the intent? The intent being, when you look at the Baker administration said, you know what, we want her on this, not because she's the mayor, but because of her experience with in law, with housing issues that she has had outside of her role as mayor prior to her becoming mayor. So they are just asking us a simple question. Do we agree, as she has stated, they want her, but she has stated she will abide by the conflict of interest rule. She understands that there may be appearance. And do we agree and do we support her in her interest in being part of the Salem Housing Authority to get better outcomes for the members of our city who have their housing under the Salem Housing Authority? And that's really where the conflict of interest, that's what this the waiver, the purpose of the waiver is, and that is why we are just being asked to consider that. Again, she is saying she understands that there is an appearance. That is why she is saying I acknowledge that there is an appearance of a conflict of interest. However, to the best of my ability, I will represent the Salem Housing Authority as a Salem Housing Authority board member, not as the mayor of this community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Counselor, anybody else Counselor, I'm sorry.
We still have to move one way or another.
Oh, okay, so Counselor McCarthy's,
Yeah, Madam President? Yeah, I'm asking for the conflict to stay in. I just.
okay, wait, I'm sorry, hang on one second, Counselor Sargent. So, okay, so we moved to page 25, so Counselor McCarthy, I need to call on you and you need to say if you want to move this be adopted or if you want to send it to Ola. Or is that what you're going to do? Okay, so Counselor McCarthy, why are you pointing?
The city.
What?
Have you read it yet?
No, I was asking if your withdrawal into.
I withdrew.
That seconded, was that your motion to withdraw?
On page 24, I withdrew the motion for adoption. I haven't done anything on page 25 yet.
Okay, so then now I call on communications from city officials.
So the following order was recommended by the city solicitor.
Councilor McCarthy.
Waive the reading unless someone wants to read it?
No.
I move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption under discussion.
For all the reasons we just talked about.
Okay. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent, and then Councilor Dibble.
I just make a friendly amendment that the conflict of interest sections remain in committee. And I just want to, with all due respect, I know, what was said is from the heart and it was good words, but this section here is in the conflict of interest, and it says this section, and again, being a board member, being an employee, this section shall not prohibit an employee of a housing authority in a municipality from holding any elective office other than the office of mayor, in such municipality, nor any way, et cetera, et cetera. So it talks about compensation after that, but it says clearly from holding an elective office other than mayor, except for mayor. And that's what I can't get by, where it says that pretty specifically. So I respectfully ask that the conflict of interest part remain in committee. And
Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Councilor Dibble. I should have called on you before. I'm sorry, I had you on my list. So please, Councilor Dibble, sorry.
Thank you, Madam President, for being recognized. This has been going on a long, long time. I asked the mayor over a year ago to withdraw her name from consideration and simply make a recommendation to appoint another good Salem resident who can fill the position and have a solid 5-member board. Just want to point out that in my conversations with Mayor, it was agreed that she appoints, this is a 5-member board. The governor appoints one, and the other 4 are appointed by the mayor, subject to this council's confirmation. Of those 4, she appoints 2 of them outright. One of them, she receives 3 recommendations from the tenants, and then she picks from those 3. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the way it's written. The other is from unions, that she receives 3 names, and then she picks from those 3 names. But she does indeed select 4 out of the 5 members, and now she's asking to be the 5th member of this board. We've heard testimony from quite a few people still in the room and from other people in the past that the present board doesn't represent in fact, the Ward 2 councilor stated this as well at an earlier meeting, that the present board doesn't represent the tenants. And when I think about the tenants, when I think about the present board and the dedication that they put forward, Mr. Frank Milo and his love for the city of Salem, Mr. Peter Strout and his expertise on construction methods and his dedication, his love for the city, it's endless. We look at Mr. John Boris, and he's called me several times on housing authority matters while I've been a counselor and reaching out to me, as has Mr. Strout as well. And their love for the city and love for the people of Salem is endless. I don't know how, and I've seen them in action at a couple of housing authority board meetings that I've attended. They clearly love the city and they're representing the tenants. I feel as though the housing authority the board is doing a good job, but it can always do a better job, obviously. But to say that these people aren't representing the tenants, these people are good Salem people that care about the people of Salem. So I take offense to some of those comments that I heard before. These are wonderful Salem caring people that know the city, they know the housing authority properties. and they're willing to go to bat. So with that, I just want to point out, I was on OLA last year, and that committee was chaired by a counselor who is no longer on this council. And those 5 counselors did not move the matter forward and out of committee. They chose to hold on to it in committee. That's 5 counselors. Now, I'm not on OLA this year, and there's 5 more counselors. It's a total of 9 different counselors between the 2 years that have been handling this matter, and they've chosen not to, for whatever reason, not to move it forward and out. And now we're with this other issue on page 24, and now we're voting on it on page 25, we're circumventing our own rules by taking a matter out of committee, and when that committee didn't send it forward to our council. We're breaking our rules by doing this. We can't do that. If the matter is in committee, it needs to be discharged and sent to the council, or if we take action to take it out of committee, then it needs to be a supermajority of this committee to reach into that committee and pull it out. We can't change the rules and do something different. We have 2 options to resolve this. One is to have the committee actually meet, lobby the committee chair to schedule it immediately, have a meeting on it, refer the matter to our council, and then we vote on it. Or this council takes a supermajority vote, reach into the committee and pull it out, and then vote on it. This paperwork right here breaks our rules. It absolutely does, Madam Chair, Madam President. It breaks our rules.
It doesn't.
It absolutely does. It's taking something out of committee that's not coming out of committee. I just wish the mayor would simply recommend somebody else for the governor's appointment. We have a lot of good people in the city that can make a big difference on this council. The mayor appoints 4 of them. She doesn't need to be the 5th, is my opinion. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Fury.
I totally disagree. 22 years of experience in the city council, 12 years in the school committee. This is where it should be. We should up and down vote tonight. Clearly, it's a vote for against the mayor. I truly believe the mayor will be a vital asset to the Salem Housing Authority. Her experience, her professionalism, her experience and dedication that we've seen for the last 13 years as mayor. Governor Baker's administration has given us the green light. Our city solicitor has documented that legally that we can do this tonight, not keep it in committee. He doesn't believe in being committee. What's happening in a national level is a disgrace. If you read the biography of Senator Edward M. Kennedy, Lion of the Senate, Moral Compass, you'll see that why things get bogged down in Washington, D.C. is bureaucracy and rules that are not 21st century. We have a 21st century opportunity to give a dynamite appointment to the Salem Housing Authority, who has credibility and integrity to the Governor Baker's administration, who's a Republican. And she is a clear Democrat. So it's nonpartisan. She looks at he's looking at experience. So I think it's here for us, the body, about time that we get an opportunity to vote. 2 of those people that were on that committee were voted out by the citizens of Salem, partially because of that reason, by keeping things in committee, bogging things down, slowing it down. We're not Washington, D.C. Much better things are going on, in fact, under Governor Baker's administration. That's why he's the most popular governor in Massachusetts, in the United States, because things are getting coordinated by both parties. We're stalemating a situation. I think it's an up or down vote tonight, clear. And it should be bogged down by our old-fashioned 17th century, 18th century bureaucracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Sargent, and then Councilor Terrio?
One move question.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm not going to sit here and debate the Ward 7 councilor about, I wasn't a member of the committee last year. I have no idea what their thought process was and why they decided not to. You can ask Council Dibble. He sat on that committee. I sit on the committee this year. I chair this committee. For him to insinuate that I haven't moved on this, I've had meetings on this.
Right.
The problem is, I have a 5-member committee, and he wants to talk about the rules. I'll talk about the rules, and I'll put everything on the table. I have a 5-member committee. 1 member has to recuse herself. That leaves 4 members. 2 members want to move this out with no recommendation, but because I chair, I can't second a motion. The other 2 members decide to not take any action, either positive, negative, or none. So therefore, because of the rules, that matter gets hung up in committee and stays stagnant and won't go to the council floor for a vote. Yes, those are the rules, but that's hiding behind the rules. If you don't like it, I understand it. Don't vote for it. Vote no. But just because, as I've taught everyone in this room, if I've taught anyone in this room over the last 10 years is how to count, because the other members of the committee have turned around and counted and realized that the mayor has the votes in order to get confirmed, they decide, okay, we, as a small majority of a committee, now because one member is recused, become a stalemate. We're going to stalemate a vote because we don't want to take action. There are all the cards on the table. And don't ever accuse me of not scheduling a meeting, or I'll have something to say to anybody in public or in private, because I have scheduled numerous meetings on this, and the committee as a whole has refused to act. We gave them multiple opportunities to send it to committee with a positive recommendation, a negative recommendation, or no recommendation, and we couldn't get a second. And those are the reasons why. And I'm only happy that we had a very great moment earlier when Jeff Barsnell was here, because I have a lot more to say. I'm trying to be as happy and as positive as I can right now about this, but those are what's happened. So let's be 100% honest. That's where we are at this point. Vote it up or down. I am tired of being accused of not moving this. I've tried to move it. The members don't want to move it. You want to place blame? Place it on the members that are unwilling to make a motion up or down. Period, end of sentence. But don't put the blame on those people who want to take the vote. The blame should be on those people who want to keep it in committee and not take a vote because they realize they don't have the votes after it comes out of committee. That's where the blame is.
Thank you. Councillor Sargent, and then...
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay.
I don't think anybody was insinuating Council McCarthy isn't having meetings, because I'm on the committee and I know he is. And he's doing his best to convince me, to move this forward. But I still can't, maybe I'm being old-fashioned and I have the greatest respect for Councilor Fury, but there's also something difficult when we got a situation where we're being asked to violate a conflict of interest law that we have to, like I say, study and sign every year. That law allows for an exemption for a selectman, for a city councilor, for a school committee person. It allows no exemption for a mayor. It simply says other than mayor. So I'm willing to take a beating for sticking up for the law. And I know it's becoming more and more in our country where sometimes you only have to follow the laws you like. It's not supposed to be a sliding scale of integrity. I see my action on this matter as following the conflict of interest law, and I think it's pretty clear in black and white. So I can't apologize for that. I believe that's maintaining the integrity of the body. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy, then Councilor Terrio.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I'm not questioning anyone's integrity or their ability to interpret the law. That's the simple choice in front of us is to allow the exemption. If what Councilor Sargent says is true, and it is in violation of a conflict of interest law, and it goes to the next level, and someone at the state level says, you know what, Councilor Sargent was right, we can't do this, so be it. All I'm saying is, in numerous occasions, with other city employees, where they take another city job, and I could run through the gamut of the list, where there was the firefighter who was doing all the chemicals at the pool, or whether it was the building inspector who was doubling up as a assistant harbor master. The list goes on, between coaches that run clinics for the Park and Rec Department. The list goes on and on, where they're city employees and they're taking another city job, and they come in front of this board and we file that conflict of interest. And I understand this is a special one, and if it is so special that it has to get vetted out at the state, so be it. But right now it's asked us to, same as all those other ones. I don't have a problem with it. I know some of them, I'm not questioning anyone's integrity. I'm saying just bring it to a vote up or down. Yes or no? Because the questions keep going, and when's this going to come out of committee? And I don't want to make excuses for people, nor do I want to point fingers, and I'm trying not to, and I did tonight, and I don't like doing that. But the fact of the matter is, it's in committee, and I can't get it up. With all my best efforts, I can't get it up. Because I don't have an odd number of members, because I have one member that has a conflict, so therefore I only have two, and it's a deadlock vote, period.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. So what we have, we have roughly 19 months ago, the governor requested that Mayor Driscoll serve in the state's appointed seat on the Salem Housing Authority. For a year it sat in there. It has since timed out and expired, rendering the initial request moot at this point. So whether we withdraw or not, it's invalid. It no longer has an appointment attached to it. We have the Department of Housing and Community Development has provided a waiver of the part of general law that precludes elected officials from serving. We have this tied to a 20B conflict of interest law exemption, which we have granted routinely for other employees of the city, as the Ward 1 councilor has pointed out, has been awarded on multiple occasions by us, and we did it a couple of times just last month. At this point, the city has gone without having there has been no state representative on the Salem Housing Authority board now since the beginning of last year. The mayor has expressed a willingness to serve on it. The state would like her to serve on it. This is something that the governor would like to see happen. It is a good example of people crossing partisan lines to try and get things done on behalf of citizens. I think the residents of the Salem Housing Authority really deserve to have an advocate in that level. And I think this is just something that the time has come to just, whatever this vote is going to be, get it done. We can talk about it it's 10 o'clock now. We can talk about this for another hour or two. It's not going to change anything. Whatever our vote is going to be our vote. So at this point, I would ask that we move the question and stop arguing and make a decision.
Okay. Actually, for Councilor, moving?
Well, we already have the motion.
We already have a motion.
Move the question.
Okay, let's move the question. Councilor, let's just move the question.
Moving the question. Vote.
Okay, so let's just move the question then. And do we want to do a roll call vote, or how do we want to do this?
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Do I have 3 hands for a roll call vote? Okay. So on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Roll call. I said, well, no debate. No further debate.
No. Yeah, we asked to move this along. We asked to move the question. I mean, your colleagues are asking you to move the question. We're asking all of us to just stop the debate and just take a vote, one way or another, up or down. So I'd like us to just go to the roll call vote and then just do it and then. Okay, so Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Because I find it amazing that I'm not being recognized by our president.
After your colleagues have asked to move the question, out of respect for your colleagues who have asked to move the question. Everything else, I let everyone speak as long as you want. But this is something when another member asks the body to move the question, typically we say, you know what, out of respect for everyone's time, out of respect for the person who has asked to move the question, we move the question. I don't know why this is all of a sudden something new to you that you're not accepting. We asked to move the question out of respect for the body, out of respect for your colleagues. Let's move the question. We'd just like you to take a roll call vote. Vote yay or vote nay.
So give the counselor 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yes or no?
I need just a yes or no.
Again, if I may continue, Madam President, I'm amazed that I wasn't recognized and now being asked to vote. So I'll vote. And I'm simply amazed that, again, that you wouldn't pay me the courtesy of recognizing me so I could say...
No debate.
Yeah, there's
yes
no more
no.
debate. We've asked to move the question.
Yes or no?
I understand that you're upset about this, but this is what we've done. And this is how we approach it. And we treat each other with respect and say, yes, we are going to move the question. Number of members have asked to move the question, and you are stalling. This is showing a great deal of disrespect to your other colleagues, and this is not okay.
I'm amazed that I'm not being called upon, so I'll vote no.
Okay.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Counsel McCarthy.
Yes.
Counsel Peterson.
Yes.
Counsel Sargent.
No, thank you.
Counsel Turiel.
Yes.
And Counsel Jordan.
Yes. On the matter of the appointment of the mayor to the Salem Housing Authority by approving Section 20B, I think this is 268A, Section 20B exemption, we have 10 members voting, 1 recused, 6 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it does not prevail.
Councilor Terrell moves for immediate reconsideration in the hopes that it does not prevail. All those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we go back to page 24 to pick up the order of business.
Councilor McCarthy moves we go back to page 24, communications from city officials. Instead, since you already did read that, can I just call on Councilor McCarthy, or do you want to read it again? Is that okay?
We do.
Okay, Councilor McCarthy.
Move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Nope.
Seeing no further discussion, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, we are going to petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Clark Street at the end of the cul-de-sac to hold a block party on September 8th, 2018 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. with a rain date of September 15th, 2018.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted.
Councilor Peterson moves that this be granted. Under discussion?
Yes, I just want to brag for a second on behalf of the neighborhood. This is one of our brand-new neighborhood associations that's just been formed, the Barnes-Clark-Wyman Area Neighborhood Association, and they've been really active so far. We've got a member here in the room tonight, and they've had a couple meetings, they've gotten a lot done, and they're going to have a party to celebrate this summer. So I am excited to enthusiastically ask for this to be granted.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Peterson's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Larch Avenue to hold a block party on September 15th, 2018 from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. with a rain date of September 22nd, 2018.
Some good news. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted.
Any further discussion? Councilor, on discussion.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy about this. Larch Ave has not held a block party before in recent years, and so it's always nice when people get together, and Larch is really cute, and it's set back a bit, and so hopefully some folks from other streets around there will come out as well. So I think it's going to be a great time, and I hope everybody supports it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Unanimous.
Further petitions.
We have a request from the House of Seven Gables to close the end of Turner Street on Sunday, September 16th, 2018, beginning at 12 p.m. to hold their annual fundraising event.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we grant.
Councilor McCarthy moves that this be granted. Under discussion?
Briefly, the House of Seven Gables, they do a lot of great community work, and every year this is their big fundraising, the Taste of the Gables Gala, and this is the solution we've come up with them over the past couple of years with collaboration with the city clerk's office about the street closing for this in order for this to happen. It's a wonderful event. It raises a ton of money that they return and put back into all their programs for all the kids and everything they do. So I move that it be approved.
Councilor McCarthy moves that this be granted. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Excuse me, matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Peabody Street between Lafayette and Ward to hold a block party on September 22nd, 2018 from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. These hours include setup and breakdown.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves that this be granted. Under discussion?
Under discussion. Last year they tried it for the first time. Unfortunately, I was at a football game for my son was playing the band for the football game. I was unable to attend. By all accounts, it was a great event. It's the neighbors in conjunction with the CDC. They closed the street down They have street vendors. They have people playing music. It's a wonderful event. It brings out a lot of people, and it, from all accounts, last year went off very well. So I wholeheartedly support trying it for the second year.
Thank you. Councillor Terrio?
It's not a carnival.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, I did get to go to it last year. This was the whole the celebration of all the art that's been put up in the Point neighborhood on public buildings and on the CDC buildings over the last year. There's a bunch of new ones being done this year, including across the canal on the flatbed bread pizza building and stuff. And so I do recommend people come down for it. It's really cool. There's performances, vendors. Like I said, food vendors. There's a beer tent. There's all kinds of stuff for kids to do. It's a really good time.
Councillor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I was invited to go to this one last year, and having hosted some 25, 28 block parties in front of my house, I accepted their invitation and went and had a ball. I mean, it was quite a block party. Really well run. For the first year, I was amazed. My question to the Ward 1 councillor, and I apologize, when I went to this block party, I cut across behind the old Sumner's Paint building along the South River Canal and went in from the side, and it didn't go down to the front. But this says that Peabody Street will be closed from Lafayette Street to Ward. So I'm not a fan of fast food restaurants and things, but what happens to the Wendy's drive-through? Is that it's closed down then if we're going all the way to Lafayette Street? I'm wondering if that's correct, or is it at the Wendy's drive-through that it's closed? I'm not sure what happens with that business. But outside of that, I encourage the Ward 1 councillor to attend, because man, let me tell you, it was one of the best parties I've been to in Salem. It was pretty cool.
Thank you. Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know specifically where it starts, but I know they've made provisions with all the businesses there to allow. I mean, obviously, if Wendy's was being, so I believe it's in the letter. It doesn't preclude Wendy's from their operation. They've agreed to it. So it's all the same conditions as last year. We had a lot of conditions last year we put on them with regards to making sure we put a lot of due diligence on the CDC themselves for leafleting the cars, notifying people, especially the residents of the buildings they manage, in order to tell them, hey, there's going to be a block party, it's going to start, and because they have to set up different apparatus, it's all approved where it gets set up, they have to have the cars moved. And it is and I made it very clear last year, I'll make it very clear again this year, it is not my intent to tow anybody. So if they have something where they need a stage set up, they better make sure that they communicate with that individual, whether he or she may be, to make sure that that car is moved in a timely fashion. Because even though the order says they can tow, I have no desire to tow anybody. So I made it abundantly clear that we didn't have an issue last year. I want to make sure that those same, I'll reach out to them myself to make sure those same enthusiastic suggestions are in place again this year, that they do their due diligence to make sure everyone's notified, to make sure those cars are cleared in a timely manner so they can do their setup. Because it's supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be an event for the neighbors. It isn't supposed to be someone gets up and then finds that their car's been towed, because that puts a damper on everything. So I'll make sure that there are all those criteria are met and that the businesses that are in question aren't affected. Because I know last year came up, there was some question about the time, and then there was also a question about the electric company, because they have a gate down there, so to make sure that any equipment wasn't blocking their gate in case they had to get something in there. So we're trying to cross all of the T's and dot all the I's on this one as well.
Thank you. Councillor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. While the order says Peabody Street will be closed down in its entirety from Lafayette to Ward, that's the entirety. Just to point out to the Ward 1 councillor that the letter in the request from the neighborhood is not the entirety. It's, as the good Ward 2 councillor just pointed out to me, it's just that section of Peabody Street just past the Wendy's entrance. So I think it's a non-issue. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. So on Councilor McCarthy's that this motion be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
The following license applications. We have limousine,
Waive the reading.
guides, taxi, operating vehicles hired.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that these be granted. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Council McCarthy's motion that these be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 5 claims.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on License Orders and Legal Affairs.
Council McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Okay.
Under discussion?
No.
Seeing no discussion on Council McCarthy's motion that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 2 drain layer contract operator licenses.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that these be granted. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 3 drain layer bonds.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
Council McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to the Commission on Disabilities to replace the word 7 with the word 9.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Council McCarthy's motion that this be adopted for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending traffic section 40, chapter 42, section 45, heavy commercial vehicles prohibited certain streets, First Street from Traders Way to Highland Avenue in its entirety.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor Peterson moves for adoption for second and final passage. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, chapter 42, section 74, general prohibition, chill zones and scary street.
Can I just ask a question?
Can I call on Councilor Madore first? Okay, so Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor Madore moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion, Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I just dawned on me that I was wondering, and it wasn't brought up before, if this had the recommendation of the police department, parking and traffic, because there was talk of the parking and traffic board not taking a recommendation from them. And we as a city council, by ordinance, we have to have a recommendation up or down from the police department. So I just had a question about that, and it may go forward, but I'll be careful. The Scary Street? This is the skateboard ordinance.
Oh, wait.
Scary Street.
We're on Scary Street.
Get out, I'm sorry. I yield.
You jumped ahead.
It's been a long night.
But that is okay.
I had to check on that one, sorry.
Okay. So, on Council Madore's motion for adoption for second and final passage on Scary Street, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
The second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, chapter 42, section 50B, handicap park and limited time, repeal Brick Street in front of number 35.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption second and final passage.
Council Madore moves for adoption for second and final passage. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no further discussion on Council Madore's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those, opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have the second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, chapter 42, article 1, section 1, definitions. Is hereby amended by adding a new definition for skateboard. And further amend chapter 42 by adding section 43B, use of skateboards on streets and sidewalks.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion,
No,
Councilor
just
Sargent.
What I said before. That's
Yeah.
not basically, I just wanted to put that out there. As we go forward, I'll ask that question sooner on the committee, but I just hadn't thought about that, and this is a pretty important issue. There's none on
This,
there?
if I remember right, this had come from the Traffic and Parking Commission
Right,
that
but
they,
Thank you. I just don't know if it had a recommendation from the police department, and where any ordinance is dealing with the streets, we're supposed to have a recommendation from the police and, parking, police traffic division. And we just have to be aware of that going forward, because I don't think the Park and Traffic Commission has taken recommendations from the police, even though they have Lieutenant Pazuski on there. We got an email a while back that he was no longer being asked for recommendations, and that has slipped my mind, so we just have to going forward, be careful of that.
Councilor, yep. Okay, so seeing no further discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business. Further unfinished business, I'm sorry.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending an ordinance chapter 24, section 7, skateboarding shall be repealed in its entirety and amending chapter 1, section 10, non-criminal disposition of ordinance violations.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Fury.
Move for adjournment.
Praise the Lord. I mean, separation of church and state. Thank you all. Very happy summer for all of you. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.